Shout out to USARK and all USARK members. If you don't know what USARK is, don't be ashamed. Just go ahead and click the third link in the description below. See what USARK is all about, okay? You never know when legislations are going to hit your backyard, so that's why it's very important to consider becoming a USARK member today. These numbers really do matter, and they look at it for consideration when it comes to battling legislation. So first and foremost, thank you, Phil Goss. Thank you to anybody out there who partners up and volunteers with USARK organization. Thank you for anyone out there who's a USARK member. And if you can't become a USARK member today, please talk about it on your platforms. Let your neighbors know, let all your pet stores know what USARK is here for, and it's here to fight for our animal rights. Thank you to every USARK member and USARK supporter out there.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world, episode 598. Damn. What is good, everyone? Welcome back to another Trap Talk with MJ Thursday nights. Ooh, I love Thursday nights. Tonight's a good night. It's a special night for sure. Very excited. Adam from the Expert and the Idiot podcast. Been a huge fan of this guy's work, and we have a lot to discuss as far as guests he's had on. We've had a lot of similar guests on, a lot of same, mutual friends. So it's gonna be one for the books. All right. Anybody who is loving the reptile world right now and in the reptile community, you're in for a treat. All right. What is good? I'm your boy MJ. Listen, if this is your first time hanging out, do me a favor, hit the likes up. All right. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, select all. You'll be reminded of every single podcast released out of the Trap Talk Reptile Network 7 days a week. Okay, there it is. There's the schedule. Sometimes it might be changing soon. I don't know. I've been messing around with some different times, trying to stay away from the saturation out there. But yes, there you have it. Monday through Sunday. You can catch a new episode right here on the Trap Talk Reptile Network. You can listen to all these episodes on all major audio platforms, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. So listen, for reals, I really mean this. Wherever you listen to any of these episodes, thank you so much. Really means a lot. All right. If you do listen to these episodes on the audio platforms, please leave a review. All right. Rate that episode and rate the podcast for me. And subscribe to it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the love and support. Now, if you're looking for exclusive content, if you want to get more behind the scenes, you want to get more like a deeper insight of what's going on with my projects and whatnot, man, then come join the Trap Talk Patreon family. You could do that by clicking the very first link in the description below. As soon as you join the Trap Talk Patreon family, get connected to a Discord, and there's an amazing Instagram group chat that is popping 24/7. So much diversity in the Trap family. I love it. I love all my trappers. You guys are my heart, man. Trap Fest 2025, June 27th. More details to come, but you guys know, man, this is going to be my 5th annual Trap Fest, and I cannot wait. So many heavy hitters coming to San Diego. It's going to be such the time. All right, listen, shout out to everyone in the chats, first and foremost. So many amazing, beautiful people in the chats. If you think tonight's episode is worth any super chat, if you have a topic, question for me or Adam, or if you think we need to cover something, then drop a super chat, all right? Of course, if you have other questions, I'm just saying I really notice the super chats. Like my eyes just open up when I see them. So, but I appreciate all the activity. All right, let's get it. Let's keep it active in the chats tonight. I love all the energy already that I see. And you guys are amazing. All right. I do got to say that tonight's episode is brought to you by somebody I find very amazing in this reptile world. And that's Gary Scavino, GS Reptiles on YouTube. Go check out his content. He just put a video out last week. Finally, it's been a few months, but guess what? He does it. And Gary Scavino also is just one of the most diverse, coolest reptile keepers that we have. And he's one of the best people who could put some rare stuff into your collection. So if you want to know what that rare stuff is, like I said, subscribe to this man's YouTube channel and follow him on Instagram. All right, it's my boy. Thank you so much, GS Reptiles. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by David Brahms over at the Reptile Perch, #1 PVC design purchase for your arboreal snake. All right, and they have them for tub sizes all the way up to enclosure sizes. So check them out, reptileperch.com, and you could actually head over to Reptile Perch on IG and check him out as well. He has some amazing chondro clutches. last year that were just stunning. And then, of course, this year, things are already looking good for my man, David Brahms. So, again, reptileperch.com and go to the Reptile Perch on IG. Let him know that MJ sent you. He's definitely a nice dude, one of the nicest dudes out there, man. So thank you so much, David Brahms, for your support and whatnot. And looking forward to having David Brahms back on the trap at some point. And also tonight's episode is brought to you by The Chipper, #1 COCO in the game. Go to COCODO.com, all right, and pick your selection of COCO substrate. I like the COCO to go. It's already broken down, ready to rock and roll. All right, saves me time, less dust. I love the COCO to go. And yeah, that's just my go-to if you were to ask me what I select. So whatever you do get at the COCODO.com, if you put TrapFam25 in the promo section, you will get 25% off that order. Okay. So thank you so much to anyone out there who gets their substrate through the Chipper. Thank you so much to the Chipper for supporting the trap again for another year. Amazing stuff. And last but not least, tonight's episode is brought to you by the man, Brian Susan, Sundown Reptiles. One of the best, if not the best, doing it in the high-end gecko game, Abronia, all right, gargoyle geckos, of course, tree monitors. And yeah, man, speaking of tree monitors, I drop a vlog tomorrow showing off my new tree monitor enclosures, some of the husbandry that I do. And I got to tell you, everything I learned husbandry-wise that you're going to see on my vlog tomorrow came from this man right here. This is my mentor, Brian Susan. He's the man, top tier, highest quality in captive-bred reptiles. This is your guy, all right? So go to sundownreptiles.com, see what Brian has available. Also, a really nice individual you could just hit up on IG, let him know that the trap sent you. And thank you so much, Brian Susan. Again, go to the Trap Reptile Vlogs. That's my other YouTube channel for whoever doesn't know that. All right, I drop my vlog there every Friday. So I drop my vlog every Friday there. And like I said, tomorrow I'm going to be displaying my new enclosures that I got from Focus Cube Habitat. Shout out to Focus Cube. And I'm also going to be, kind of showing you guys what is in store for my tree monitor projects and all that good stuff. Okay, so again, head over to my other YouTube channel, the Trap Reptile Vlogs. Set that reminder because it's going down. And if you don't know already, if you've been sleeping on a rock, I work with MORPH Market and I drop a vlog on MORPH Market's YouTube channel every Sunday. Okay, and I also do a show with them every Friday. So do me a favor, do your boy MJ a favor. Head over to MORPH Market's YouTube channel, subscribe to that channel, set your reminder, and be ready for some awesome stuff to come from MORPH Market. And enough is enough. I'm tired of talking. I want to get Adam on the show, dude. This is a long time coming, first and foremost. All right. We have a lot to talk about. I'm telling you right now, I like all the people I bring on. I really do. But when you have someone that you feel like you could really go back and forth with interests of learning, right? Because one thing I'm talking to Adam about in Soundcheck is I started all this for free schooling on reptiles, man. Are you kidding me? Never thought it would turn into this, but I want to say the first year, 2 years was just all about me gaining knowledge. And that was my biggest takeaway for everything that I was doing. So, and I see this guy doing this now. So you guys are in for a treat. Like I said, he's brought on some of the best people that I respect in the damn reptile world. That's a fact. We're going to talk about it here in a minute. But guys, do what you got to do to get your mind right. All right. Do what you got to do to stay hydrated. This is episode 598. Adam from the Expert and the Idiot podcast coming at you right now. Let's go. Cheers.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, God love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it.
And we're live, episode 598 with Adam. What is up, Adam?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
You're here, man. We finally did it.
We did.
You're a busy guy, bro.
Yeah, I've been working a lot, so it's it's been hard to, get time. The podcast kind of falls to the wayside a little bit, but
I mean, dude, but the consistency you've been at with your actual real life, and to keep that up, and you're a dad, which we'll get into as well. Like, bro, I already know what's driving you. It's because you fucking love it, don't you? Like, I feel like you're learning a lot from all these people you're bringing on.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you nailed it when you said it before about just getting a free education out of it. I mean, when I started talking about this to people that I work with, and family members and friends, and they kind of gave me that look like, you're gonna do what now? You're gonna talk to people about snakes, and it was like, hey, if I fall flat on my face, I'll be able to have talked to a few people for 2 or 3 hours at a time about reptiles and how they take care of their animals and everything. So that kind of, in my mind, made everything worth it. Everything that I've put into it.
Especially because, I mean, I feel like you're not, like, your expectations isn't like, oh my God, like, this is going to fucking, change everything. You're just, at the end of the day, you're just like, how can I learn from the best? And think about, here's the thing I always talk about. Like, you could have the best mentors in the world and you're still going to go through it. Like, that's how you really learn, right? But like, when you have stuff to go back to, and it's from people who've been through it, like, regardless of, you can't avoid certain situations, it's still good to know certain situations that are coming your way potentially. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the amount of knowledge I've gained is pretty crazy, and it makes you a lot more calm going into certain situations. So I know that once I start actually pairing animals up, that's going to be a whole other, ball of wax.
Yeah. So, I see that you've, upgraded some caging or got some new caging and whatnot. So can we kind of talk about like where you're at in your reptile collection? Like how fresh is it? Like, when did you kind of start? Like, I mean, we don't have to talk about like, oh, I was a kid and loved reptiles, but like, when did you actually start stacking reptiles and like getting a collection going?
2023 is when I kind of got back into it. Yeah. Cause so I was into it, heavy, I mean, I got into it when I was, a teenager, and I, killed some stuff, just, improper husbandry and all that, not providing the right lighting for lizards and things.
Right.
And then actually I ended up working at a pet store, and I was an assistant manager there, and, held that down for a little while, but I mean, that paid, basically nothing, and took up a ton of time, and ended up getting a better job. And at that point in time, I had quite a few snakes. I had a devoted reptile room and everything. And then once my first son was coming, all those snakes got moved out of that room, and that was then the baby room, so it was new paint, new molding, new carpet, new everything, and just, months prior it had a Deathstalker scorpion and, a bunch of snakes and all sorts of, like probably 15 tarantulas and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, you know how it is. Once you have a baby, it's hard too, having a baby. I think I was 25. So having a baby and being 25 and working night shift, and, going from breeding rats and having, this really eclectic collection, no pairs of really anything. It was just like,
everything you wanted, which is like, in a sense, almost a good thing, because if you were breeding, like, who knows what that could have been like, I mean, I guess it could have gone a couple different ways, but you were just obsessed with this shit. Like, you just wanted it,
Yeah, exactly. And they kind of, then they moved out to the garage, which wasn't finished, and I didn't want to keep the animals that way. I didn't want to keep them in an unfinished garage, so I ended up rehoming like the entire collection. Got rid of some stuff I really wish I still had, and then that was it. And then my oldest son, I have two boys. My oldest son kind of kept bringing up a pet snake over and over again, And just I kept thinking like we'll just get a ball python and it'll be like whatever, like a really cool morph, you know. And I just started looking around and researching and getting back into the hobby, and it was like at this very obsessive level, going deeper and deeper and finding, you know, like Gary's channel, and then going further on Gary, and then finding your podcast, and, you know, and then like just getting into everything to the point where then at the time I was, you know, kind of working off of a computer mostly. And it was just constant podcast in my ears, you know, just all like constantly listening to old episodes on specific species. And you know how it is when you're listening to a podcast, somebody will ask a question and then you have a follow-up question and you're thinking it in your head, like, oh man, why didn't he ask this? Like, I wonder about this. And
Yeah.
And then everybody in the hobby is so cool where you can actually reach out to people and they'll give you the time of day and talk to you and, you know, answer your questions. And so, yeah, that one ball python turned into, where I'm sitting now. My office has been kind of converted into a reptile room.
I'm telling you, man, like I just had what podcast was it not too long ago? And it was like, okay, it wasn't last Tuesday, but the Tuesday before, we had a guy named Tyler on, and it was like the same thing. Like, he got a ball python and then it turned into like a whole fucking wall of chondros. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? And mind you, like, dude, he's in, like, he's not kind of like, you know, I think we're all like, I think if you have anything more than 5 chondros, you're way ahead of your, like, you're in for some shit. Right. But either way, like, for where he's at, like, you know, he has it down and he's happy, he's passionate about it, but all from one ball python. You know what I'm saying? So that's the ultimate gateway, man. I would say either a gecko or a ball python, but even ball pythons reign higher than a gecko. I feel like gecko's even more of a niche. You know, ball python's more of an American, like, you know, staple in the pet trade. I feel like, you know. Yeah,
it's like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, right. You know, and if you don't like peanut butter and jelly, get the hell out of here, dude. But no, okay. So let's kind of talk about like, okay, first and foremost, like, I know you're into carpets, or can we kind of break down your collection now, and like, what is it that, you know, that fucking makes you want to invest in the caging and drop some money into it? Because we all know this shit ain't cheap, man. And so let's talk about like your most passionate species you're keeping and whatnot.
I love Argentine boas, and there's some sick part of me that just wants to get more. I have a trio right now.
Yeah.
And there's this part of me that wants to get another male and another pair, add another pair onto that.
Are they like the pink line? Can you talk? I know a little bit about Argentines, okay? Because I had a pair at one point, and you know what's funny? Gary Scavino talked me out of keeping them because I was we're talking about making changes when we have a kid. I was at that stage where I was letting go all my big snakes. And so I had these Argentines, and Gary's like, you realize how fucking big those get, right? And I was like, fuck. And I was like, that makes sense. Like, why, you know, and I could have raised them and enjoyed, because I told you that big group of Timors I used to have.
Yeah.
I raised most of those Timors, and it was fucking just awesome to see them grow up. But, you know, anyway, so that's why I was at the stage where I was like, I had to let go of the Argentines. But I'm sorry, let's get back to like, what is there a certain like type of Argentines that you like or that you're keeping, or what are they?
So I have one from Travis at Living Legless. So that's my larger female. I got her from somebody, and when I got her, she was 3, so she's like 6.5 foot. And yeah, I mean, I want to do anything for, you know, I do anything for that snake. So I want to get her like a, you know, maybe an 8x2x2 and give her something that she can totally sprawl out in. You know, it's like, because I just love watching her be able to have the ability to move around the enclosure and all that. So I don't think I don't think that there's much lineage on her from him, but she's an Argentine. And then I got a pair of Fortune line, which those ones, are you familiar with the Fortune line at all? So there's like a story behind it. I keep retelling it. It's probably different every time I retell it, and I'm probably adding in a lot of stuff and fabricating part of the story. So that's my disclaimer. But they were smuggled in from Argentina to into an airport. I'm just gonna say LAX. They were smuggled into California. They were taken. They were taken. The people were arrested, and then those animals were sent to the Seattle Zoo. And Edgar Fortune had them there, and he bred them, and then so that's where the Fortune line comes from. So I think my pair that I have, they're either F2 or F3.
Are they the darker ones? Like, do they get dark? Or are they light?
Yeah, they're just dark. They're not Max Pink lines, so they don't retain any of that pink coloration that you see in the neonates.
And I would tell you this, I still like the because a good friend of mine produced these Argentines. His name was Rob. Shout out to Rob. But like my Argentines that I remember first seeing was I was a kid. Okay, I think I was in 6th grade, and I was at my buddy's house down the street, and he had a big brother that kept a bunch of different species of snakes all in one tank. And yeah, it was wild. It was like the 90s. You know what I mean? Like no rules back then. But the thing that stood out the most in that fucking tank was a huge fucking black snake. And I remember it was an Argentine. And I remember just like being so terrified of it, but just staring at it through the glass like this for like, I think like the guy had to kick me out. And I was like, dude, this. So like I remembered it, and I was like, man, if I am gonna ever go back to the Argentines, I want that black one, like the ones that are like dark. They just look the meanest. You know what I mean? And yeah, but yeah, just that's a whole lot of snakes. So you have a trio of them, you said, right? So what, like, what's the sex ratio?
One male and 2 females.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So other than the Argentines, what else you got?
The Timors and a ton of jungles. I've got 5 jungles, and I've got 2 diamond females that I got from Brandon Wheeler.
You got diamonds from Brandon?
Yes, sir.
Dude.
So yeah.
Fuck you, Brandon. What the fuck? Like, dude, he knew I wanted some. I wasn't on his bumper though. You got to be on Brandon's bumper out there. Because I mean, that's quite the clutch and quite the feat to like hatch those fuckers from outside, dude. That's fucking cool. Like,
yeah, and I honestly had no interest in diamonds, and then I had him on just to talk about keeping snakes outdoors, and then it was all downhill from there, you know. So it basically I kind of had it made up in my mind I was going to get some of his diamonds when we were done talking about it.
Yeah, I'll bring up Gary again. When I was at Gary's house seeing his collection, he whipped out some diamonds, and I was like, all right, what the fuck? Like, dude, beautiful, like just unreal. Like you see a really nice, like real diamond. You know, it sucks because I don't want to say there's not enough like pure ones, but there are some ones that are phony diamonds. Like I guess they're a little bit, I guess, diamond jungle. Like it's hard to tell at a young age, but as they get older, you're like, oh shit, that's not a real diamond. So Gary's was like the first like, oh, okay, this is like what a good bloodline of diamonds look like. And I was just fucking thrown back, man. Amazing. Also really impressive, like intimidating looking snake, but fucking just amazing. I love it. And I feel like carpets are so underrated, man. Like I really do. And you know, I don't know, there might be a turn, but I don't know if that popularity would ever get to where they should get at in the carpet world. What do you think?
I don't know. I do think that there's so much to learn about diamonds, and I really want to see more diamonds in the hobby, right? Yeah. Like it's sad that if you go to look at diamonds on MORPH Market, I mean, how many are on there? Like it's got to be in the teens,
yeah,
maybe. You know, so that's something I would like to have, like 2.4 diamonds, and I want to keep them all outdoors.
Where do you live, Adam?
Florida.
What part?
Like Southwest.
Southwest. Okay,
yeah.
Like a city? Or like where you at?
Let's say 100 miles south of Tampa. Does that help?
So you're not as south as like Fort Lauderdale and shit like that. Like, so no. you're like in the corner, like more towards Daytona.
Not that far up. Daytona's probably like 4 or 5 hours from me.
Okay, got you. All right. Okay, damn. All right, so dude, that's cool because there's only a couple places you could pull off keeping shit outside, either where I live or for most part the mecca of reptile keeping, Florida. So that's like dude, tell me about. I don't know. My mind races because how bad I want to keep reptiles outside. I just don't have the property for it. Fuck, if I did, I'd still have my lace monitors. I mean, dude, I didn't want, I knew how much of a fucking lace monitors outside compared to inside. And I was like, it was kind of like how I let go of the big reticks. Like I just didn't feel right keeping them in 6 foot, 8 foot enclosures when they're fucking 12, 13, 14, 15 feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just didn't sit right. But man, that's a dream I will continue someday, is have stuff outside. And I want to know how far you are from like having, like, do you live on property now where you could build some shit and have some stuff outside, or like where are you at?
Yeah, I'm on a half acre.
Oh,
So
that's sick. All right.
yeah, so I've got the room to expand out, push out in that direction. So that'll be exciting. I have a 4-year-old male that I put a down payment on, Diamond Python, from David Feinberg. So that animal is, I'll send you a picture of it later. It's insane looking.
You don't have it yet? You're about to get it from this
yeah.
guy?
Yeah. So he's in Florida, so he's driving distance. So that'll be great. So what I'm waiting for is for the spring to come. So right now it's the temperature swings are too radical right now. It's still getting too cold at night and all that. So my goal is to build a cage and, go pick up the snake in the spring and move him into his outdoor enclosure in the spring, and then let him get acclimated when it's very fair, and then let him, get used to the really hot summers. And I'm going to put a misting system into the cage so he can cool down and stay hydrated throughout the summer. And then I don't know how I'm going to keep him warm during the winter. But, kind of been working that out, talking with Tony Dorer and the way he's keeping his outdoors. And it's one of my, it's like, I think it's like the coolest thing. Like, I love talking to people that keep snakes outside, especially the
that's
diamonds.
Like a whole nother elite level. You can't have nothing but the most up respect for somebody keeping this shit outside, because it's supposed to be outside. I know this is captive. I get it. And I got them in my house, but fuck, like, there's just some animals you look at and you're like, dude, this isn't, I don't think this is right. And you know what I mean? And so I'm a little overthinker too. And I don't know. I'm not trying to be all fucking I don't know. I love my animals, but I'm just saying, like, if I notice something and if I could give them something better, that's what I want to do. But then here's the thing though, like my goal was to have laces outside and breed them outside. And that's like a lot. Like, monitors are no joke, man. And, I was given all the warnings before I even got my lace monitors. I got them as babies. But then I kept being told by like my closest friends, like, dude, like, these fuckers will get big, man. They're gonna get big. They kept telling me they're gonna get big, and I was like, in my head, like, I got an ideal cage, like, I know what I'm gonna do. And then when we moved into this house, I'm like, okay, so plan B, I got to build them something outside, because whatever I want to do, I can't do in this room. And then once the outside plans went to shit, then it is what it is. I had to do the right move, and fucking, like I said, it's something I will continue at some point. Maybe I'll have to move to Florida.
We'll take you. We're taking everybody else, so we'll take you.
Florida's nuts, bro. Let me be honest. Florida is fucking nuts. Okay, mind you, my real experience with Florida has always been South Florida, like Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Ooh, fuck, bro. It's like a real life GTA game down there. Like, it's uneasy. Like, I try to just enjoy myself, but it's hard when I'm drenching sweat. I'm trying to smoke a joint, but my joint's sweating. Okay, like, what is happening? And then, like, you see some guy like trying to masturbate to a shopping cart. You know what I mean? You're just like, where am I, man? And then one of my closest friends is like strapped, has 2 guns on him, and he's like, just like, I don't know. It's Florida.
I think you went to a different Florida. I haven't been to that one yet.
Oh man, but I think, okay, but shout out to my boy Emilio. We did drive up to Daytona, and like, we got out, and I was like, okay, this feels a little safer. Like, I don't know, and I'm pretty sure just the area had to be the area I was in. So maybe it's my friend's fault. I don't know. I love you, Socrates. It's Socrates. I went to hang out with him. He's in Fort Lauderdale, and so, but I feel like, I don't know how the humidity's up where you're at. Is it as bad as?
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, for me, I love it. Like, I can't live without it. Anytime that my wife and I have gone to Colorado or Washington or anywhere out west, like, we're dehydrated by the time we come home. We're just like, all of our skin is cracked. We're bleeding. We're miserable, and then we're semi-aquatic at this point, so we're just used to it.
So you're born and raised in Florida?
Yep.
Wow, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's the Florida guys are just different out there, and dude, they're telling you guys like, you should be your own fucking, like, your own country. I feel like you guys are different, bro. You know what I mean? And but
Well,
listen,
where we're at, it's it's mostly it's a lot of retirees. There's a ton of people.
Can't believe
It's funny. Like a lot of the people that are here from New York or Jersey, they're from the northeast and that so we have a lot of transplants that are here. I mean, my family came from Long Island down here.
okay.
And so yeah, it's kind of that's what you see a lot of. You see a lot of it's bizarre, like the amount of people that I've worked with that have the same area code as like my family from New York. It's bizarre, So it's where I'm at. There wasn't any shopping cart masturbation or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm like I said, man. I'm just telling you my experience, and I've been to Florida, I think 4 times, and every time there's something I leave with that I will never forget, and it's I don't drive no more. I think the first time I went, I tried driving and never do that again. Like because you have the people just doing like crazy stuff in the car. They're either driving way too slow, like they're on something slow, or they're driving fast and like looking for you to say something if they cut you off. And you're just like, all right, man, like, you know what I mean?
And everybody has a gun.
And everyone's like, dude, everyone's strapped. Holy shit. You know what I mean?
Everybody's got a gun shirt on with a bumper sticker, and like they're just letting you know, like, don't do anything, all right?
Hey, Miami Grill's fire, though, I will say. I've had some good gyros at Miami Grill. So, but also a place you don't want to wait in line at night. It's fucking Jesus, man. I don't know. It's nuts. Have you been to Miami Grill? You know what I'm talking about? That it's like a burger joint.
No. I think I've been to Miami. I've been to Fort Lauderdale, usually for work, so I've never been able to really enjoy the vibe.
You're good. Okay, so like being in Florida though, man, like what is it like being a reptile keeper in Florida with like, if I feel like anything USARK or USARK Florida, like Jurassic type shit comes to Florida first. So like, how does it feel like, just the thought of, any of the laws changing or, next thing you can't keep carpet? I don't know. Like, what do you ever fear any of that shit? Like,
yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I fear losing things and it sucks wanting things that I know I'm never going to be able to get. Like it sucks.
One thing right now, Adam, what's one thing you would want in your collection that you can't have because of the laws?
Just one thing?
Or I mean, the top thing. What's the top thing that you could think of?
A Burmese python.
Oh, damn.
And not from like a breeding perspective. Like I wouldn't. I mean, there's nothing in my. I shouldn't say that, but there's very few things in my collection that everything I want, everything that I have, I want to keep. I want to keep the animal. I want to observe its behavior. Yeah. I want to give it the highest level of care possible. It's not. I'm not thinking about, am I going to be able to pair these up and make money off of anything? It's nothing like that ever with anything I have. There's certain things that I look at them and I think, man, what if I could pair these up and get some really cool offspring and hold some back and then sell some to friends or people I know, things like that. That's kind of how I'm wired. So if I were to get a berm, it would just be a berm with a room-sized enclosure.
If I was in the position, because like I'm at my point in my collection where I can't do pets. Like I have breeding plans and like every space in here is like it needs to pay its rent in a sense. You know what I mean? Other than this shit, it's like I'm in the hole fucking forever. But on that side where all the ball pythons are and stuff like that, like that stuff matters to me. But man, I had berms, and I had a berm that her name was Pebbles, and it sucked because as I was getting rid of all my bigger snakes, she was the last big snake I rehomed. I did not want to get rid of her because first and foremost, like she was a snake I could easily kept in a 8 foot or 6 foot because she's a berm. They just they sit there and they're not like ticks. Where ticks are like fucking just on a whole nother level, and I don't know what it is, but I didn't have a lot of issues with my berm. It was probably the best huge pet snake I've ever kept in my entire life. It was a real puppy. She was a fucking sweetheart, man. And but I just, like I said, I was like, if I'm gonna have this energy of not having big snakes, I need it is what it is. But if I could add a pet big snake, berms, man, berms are the best. Like they're like the real puppy dog tame, that whole saying, like puppy dog tame. I think that really came from berms being that way. I really do.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of draws me to them. You know, like if I were to have a giant snake, that's the kind I would want. Something big and super laid back and chill that would be fun to interact with, which is what drew me to the Argentines, you know, and I don't, you know, I think I was talking to Owen McIntyre about Keith McPeak's Argentines and how his aren't enormous, you know, and they have smaller litters and things like that. Like, so I like, if I'm not focused on getting the maximum amount of babies out of an Argentine, then maybe I don't have to focus on getting it as big as possible. And maybe it doesn't have to be an enormous animal, you know?
Yeah, but do you ever think about like there's it's crazy how you could either get a snake to get huge or you can get a snake to stay smaller depending how you feed it. But what is the right size? Like regardless of the goals of what you want, smaller and bigger, like what if like bigger is the right size for that snake, you know? But here's another thing I always think about too, right? Like not every snake is meant to be the same size. Like, you know, like for instance, I have my Exantic Malucan scrub python. Same clutch that Steven has a sibling to, both females. This female's gigantic compared to mine. But also like Steven taught me something, you know, he's king of scrubs, bro. This you had him on your show, respect. Okay.
Yeah.
But he told me there's a period with the scrub python where that's in that lifespan of that period, it determines how big you want that snake to get. And you could hit him as hard, it doesn't matter, but then it gets to that point where the age comes and then it's already set to be that big, and then you don't have to hit it as hard. But that's how I guess you could get a big scrub. Then I was told by people, I don't know if you know who Casper is. I think green emerald. I don't forget. I'll send you his page on IG. But he's in the Netherlands. He's bred Papuan. He's bred Bolins. He's bred Alvarezi. He's bred a lot of cool shit. And this guy knows, like, he's one of those people who believes in like there's too many overfeeding going on, and like you don't fucking need to feed something so gigantic to get it to produce, because they're not all big like that in the wild. You know what I mean? So I think overall as a hobby, we feed way too heavy. Like there's just too much of a fucking heavy foot on the feeding, only because I think we think they want to eat, you know what I mean? But I always wonder, like, what is the proper way to feed an Argentine boa, a scrub python, a Timor python, which I don't know if you ever seen a big Timor python? Oh, they're out there. Fucking yeah. Dude, they're impressive. Oh my God.
Yeah,
dude.
Dennis McNamara has sent me pictures.
Yeah. The rodent, the gourmet rodent, Mike Lehman. He was on Unfiltered Reptiles podcast years ago, and he was talking about his huge Timors. And I remember like thinking, I was like, you have huge Timors? Like, I remember even at that time I had a couple import adults and they weren't that big. And I'm like, they get huge? And he showed me them, bro, like the fucking head size of my hand, like big, bro. You know what I mean? And he told me, he's like, I feed the shit out of them. And I'm like, and also at that time, you never heard about anyone producing Timors. He said he was getting 13 clutches a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was like, what? And so,
well, yeah. And Steven sent me pictures too of some big ones. He made me nervous. But
I think also too, like you have captive-bred ones, right? For the most part, or they're all captive-bred, or
all three of them are, yeah, from Ryan.
So I remember a change in my whole Timor keeping experience when I went from keeping imports to getting some captive-born and bred ones. Holy shit, it was like night and day, man. They still like would musk, but it was nowhere nearly as much. They weren't as like trying to get the fuck away from you. They would tolerate being held, but I feel like they all have a threshold. Like there's like a certain time watch where they're like, all right, fuck you. And they'll just like tell you, like, put me down. But man, the captive bred ones, I feel like I was like, okay, I could see like throughout time, if you are successful producing these captive bred ones, they will chill after time. Like just like anything else that came here fresh imported that was fucking whacked out. Like, did you ever hear that the ball python was one of the hardest reptiles to ever get to breed in the 90s, right? And now it's like a fucking an idiot, like anybody, like we're all idiots, but I'm just saying a fucking dipshit, bro, like could breed ball pythons. It's so easy, right? Eugene would say a dipshit can breed anything, and he's probably right. But I don't know, man. Like I said, it's just I feel like it's cool to have stuff that you have because it's not worked with enough, and you are on the front line of seeing the change that these possibly are going to be like keeping when they go from being import to captive, so pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I told Ryan that straight up when I was getting my Timors from him, that my goal was to produce, F2, just get another generation into captivity. I mean, you can see my male right here. He's chilling up there. I don't know what he's doing. I threw them all off. I came home and I turned the lights on. They're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. I feel bad sometimes because you got people out there who are like super strict about like once the lights are off, they're off. And I do everything in here. Like this is like my office. And so I'll work in here and like, but then I'll be like, damn, like I wonder if like my lights are really fucking with them and pissing them off. But I don't know. I feel like they're all once their main lights are off and stuff like that, I think they know. I don't know. Do you ever overthink it sometimes? Like, oh, my bad for leaving the lights on or some shit.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's probably like once every 3 months, something like this will happen where I record at night. So I'm not too concerned about it. If I was like breeding animals, then it would probably be a different story, because I wouldn't want to just screw something up in that cycle. But right now, yeah, it'll be a couple hours that they have their lights on and they'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I also too think like animals get used to the room. Like they get used to your behavior, how you are. Like if you are a high traffic person in your room and your snakes like are with you for a certain amount of time, I think they understand that and kind of get used to your room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm a little concerned because one of my boa imperators or imperators, however you want to say it, she is like the most chill, laid back snake. And I used to work from home 2 days a week for like 4 years. So I was in the room twice a week for the entire day. And that doesn't happen anymore. And I came in the room the other day and I opened her cage up and she was just like on me, like wanted to bite and wrap my hand, and so that was kind of a different reaction than I'm used to from her. And I kind of wondered exactly that. Like, am I not in here as much? And, so is she just associating me with food now? But yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah, dude, man. Going down memory lane, like I was a big colubrid guy. I had a bunch of colubrids, and the biggest group of colubrids I had were mangrove cat snakes. Fucking some big motherfuckers, bro. And I tried breeding them and all that stuff. And then I'll never forget once I got them out of a rack, or I had them in the Target tubs, like the fucking like straight Target tubs. That's I blame Forrest Fanning for that. But I had them in these Target tubs, and once I was like, oh, I'm gonna get them in a 4x2x2. And I'm pretty sure because now they could see in the 4x2, like the Target tubs are kind of a milky, like kind of a can't really see that well probably through. But when you put them in a 4x2x2 with the glass, holy shit! And so it would and mind you, these fucking things were so messy, man. Like another big reason why like my colubrid ship has sailed is because throughout the 2.5 years I was keeping them, it was everyday cleaning, everyday shit. It was just they're just so shitting all the time, right? And the mangrove cat snakes, like these were big, like I said, big snakes, and their shit smelled like they would smell. And I had like this OCD thing where if I smell shit, I have to clean it. But then there would come a point where I'm like, I don't want to fucking go in there right now. Like I don't want it's like a fucking goddamn war zone every time I got out one of these mangroves. And also they were very like chill and then not chill. Like, and I had moments where I have them in my hand and I'm like cleaning their cage and I'm looking at them like, are we good? And then they just either spaz and what it was, Adam, one time is there's a hydroponic store where I got like a lot of like my cocoa chip at the time, and also like hides. Like they had pots where I would use them as hides. And so I was using one of these pots, like one of these plastic things as a hide, and they had these tiny fucking air holes at the top. And I'm thinking, there's no way she's gonna try to fucking go through that. Well, guess what? She tried to fucking go through that. And so her head is like halfway stuck out of the thing, like the air hole. And I'm like, and she's completely stuck. And I'm like, oh my God. So I go get fucking like pliers and like get ready to cut her out. And what do you think happened? She fucking catches my thumb. And so she's like a mangrove cat snake, full grown 8-foot snake. She's just all I see her mouth is just chomping on my thumb, and I'm trying to like just finish the cut to get her out, and I'm like, oh! And then I said enough is enough, and I flinged her, bro. Like I was like, and her tooth got stuck in my fucking
no
for a whole year, bro. So yeah, after that experience right there, that was like, dude, I don't have the time for this shit. Like, unfortunately, like I was way in ahead of myself, bro, because I was keeping all this shit to where at any minute, if it wants to fucking go to town, it's gonna go down. And mind you, too, bro, these mangroves were getting out there, escaping. Okay, one of them almost hit my wife in the head. She walked into my room, bro. It was fucking getting out of control. So, like, I mean, you know who Patrick Holmes is, right?
Yeah.
He's nuts. That's why I love Patrick so much, because he keeps all this type of shit that keeps you on your toes to like the next level. And I still have yet to see in his collection. I really want to go see it, but he keeps some crazy fucking shit, that guy, bro. And I don't know how people do it. I don't know how they do it, bro. I don't.
I don't think I need any colubrids in my collection, aside from maybe black milk snakes. That might be like the only thing that I would want to get into.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I was out of control. Like, I think I had over 4 or 5 species of colubrids.
Wow.
And they were all like on the bigger side. I had false water cobras; those were fucking cool, but also just super messy as well. So I don't know, man. Like, I always preach like, don't do what I did, but I don't take back anything that I did, because like I learned so much. Like, all that shit was like, it was like fucking like get gladiator school of reptile keeping, bro. Like, and it was all because of an importer I met and I became friends with, and he was in Florida, and he would just ship me this shit, bro. Like, it was it was a cool thing, but it was a really bad thing. I could get whatever fuck he wanted or whatever he had over there to my doorstep, and it was coming, man. Like, he would even front me shit, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh, bro,
that's dangerous.
It was a dangerous thing, bro. But honestly, like I said, I kept some really cool looking shit, some really, I don't know.
How many Timors did you have?
13.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had a huge fucking good size collection.
That's crazy. I couldn't imagine. I could imagine myself having 4. I could imagine myself getting another female. But that's it. I couldn't imagine having 3 or more than that. I mean, because they eat a lot. They digest it fast.
They grow slow, though. I will say they don't grow as quick as you would think they would grow. I mean, I guess it all depends how you feed them, but I remember feeding mine pretty hard, and they didn't grow as quick. Like, nothing like a retic or anything. But the thing is, they do get to that point where once they're deep into their subadulthood and you start feeding them good, that's when there's like a growth spurt. But I feel like the raise up stage takes its time. I feel like.
Can you define feeding them hard?
Like I like big size meals. Like for instance, I think the hatchlings I had, I got them on rat pups right away, and like I was just getting them like, wasn't too far from small rats, and I was just trying to get them because I was on that whole like Mike Lehman tip after he told me how he feeds the shit out of his Timors. So I was like, all right, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do that too. And so I remember feeding the shit out of them. And so I can't really tell you, like, I mean, it was once a week. Like, I wasn't doing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I wasn't doing everything. It was literally once a week I was feeding them. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but then, yeah, I can't even remember. I think my buddy Andrew at that time, he really wanted my Timors. Like, he was a big reason why I was getting Timors, because he told me, he's like, bro, like, if Joe Switowski, if he's sending you Timors, he's like, you better stack these because these aren't even here and blah blah blah. And like, I love them that much, so I just started fucking hoarding them and stacking them. But then once I got to the point where I'm like, am I like, do I have the space to breed these? Like, this is crazy. Like, now I just got a bunch of Timors. And so, in mind you, I think I had about, I want to say the adults, I had like about maybe 3.4 to 7. At least half the Timors were adults. Like, they were big,
Wow.
And so, at that time, Andrew wanted out of the emeralds, and he had basins, and he had some northerns. And I was fucking all obsessed over that shit. And I knew that Timor just wasn't in my future, like, for the long run. And so we just worked something out where we basically almost swapped. And like, he had a basin he said he would swear he would never get rid of. And it was like the basin that got me hooked. And it was an Ed Marino production. And I remember like throwing him like figures. He's like, nah. He would always say no. But then all of a sudden he's like, all right, we do this trade. You get that snake. And I was like, it's done. And so, and his name's Benny. He's right here. He's still here to this day. My boy Benny the Basin. And so
Nice.
yeah, that's when my ship sailed on the Timors, and then reality started sinking in. Like, dude, do you want to keep getting yourself to the point where, okay, now what are you gonna do? They're big. And so the whole like keeping my overhead smart started coming in more and more and more. And I started meeting really good fucking veterans in the game who would tell me like, why are you keeping that? If like, they would just kind of like make sure I'm keeping what I really should be keeping and wanting to keep, because I would be honest, I did have a lot of dollar signs, Adam. Like I did look at some of the shit that not only I wanted to keep, but I wanted to make some money too. Because my background sells. Like, I love making money. But it was also something where I had ball pythons as my foundation, and I had to remember, like, you got to keep this shit not for money like this, because you don't even know if you're good at breeding this stuff, and that's kind of why I really just said, all right, you need to keep shit. Like, if you're not going to get ball pythons, these are just going to be pets in a sense, right at the time. But the whole money thing wasn't like, even to this day, bro, I don't think of money in chondros at all, like, because it's just, I mean, I could have 2 fucking good successful clutches. I'm not going to be out of any hole. Like, I'm so deep into this shit, it's ridiculous, bro. So
yeah, so everything I look at, or everything I want to keep, everything I get, I'm looking at the footprint of its enclosure as an adult, so that's been like my saving grace from buying more than I can handle, is that I'm thinking like long term it's going to need to be in a cage these dimensions, and where is that going to go? And so as far as being in my house, I'm built out, now I plan on getting a building on the property. And
I want so bad, bro. I just want a building, and I want it. But here's the thing: I want it on the property. My wife actually said, "Why don't you rent some?" I was like, "I don't want to fucking leave my house. Like, I want to be butt fucking naked in my room if I want to be. Like, I want to be. I want it to be home, but I don't want it to be like connected to my home. Like, I just want a few feet. Like, that's all I want."
Yeah, that's so. Planning that out, I want it to be, I go out my front door, and then I'm going to put in a sidewalk and walk out the sidewalk maybe 15 feet, and there's the front door to the building, and I go in there, and what I'm looking at is having a building actually like delivered with a floor and everything, just fully constructed with a interior wall inside, so I can have a washroom that an incubator can go in, and then the rest of it would just be, whatever, podcast studio / just all the animals, and so I'm looking at probably like a 14 by 38. I think that would be perfect for what I want, because it's also work too. When you get more animals, it's more work, it's more husbandry, and yeah. So and I'm like you in the regard that if I come in my room, if I see something, it has to be cleaned up, So that's often at the end of not being at the house for 12 or 14 hours, getting home, wanting to eat dinner and go to sleep. But if I come in here, it's like, all right, get the bag and scoop some poop and, mist and fill up the humidifier and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And what the times that would really weigh on me, Adam, is when I would start traveling for the podcast, and I would fucking come home after being gone for 4 days, and you go into that room and you can't go to sleep. Like you got a whole long night ahead of you, because you're gonna go through every fucking thing. You want to make sure everything's still there. Like, this is back when I was way ahead of myself, and I had colubrids and like way too much shit. You know what I mean? And so, and it's still, I mean, there's no peace of mind when I leave now, but at least I know, like, I can't remember the last time I had anything escape. I had a ball python escape the first year we moved in here. But that's whatever. Like, other than that, everything's pretty locked in and sealed. You know what I mean? But that's why, like, it's one thing taking care of these fucking gnarly snakes. Like I had olive pythons too, bro. Like, I had olives, I had some really good gnarly looking snakes. But like, when you're not there, and then I'm like, I have to tell my wife, hey, can you check on the room? And she's like, hey, your fucking mangrove's out. Like, all right, wife, get the hook. You know what I mean? She ain't gonna do that, and I don't expect her to, because it's like, I don't want her to touch that fucking thing. Like, no, like, run away.
Now you got friends like Brandon though that watch your collection.
That's true. Yeah, shout out to Brandon Wheeler. He's in the chats. Hey, Brandon, I love you. Yeah, him and his son Cash come through. Brandon, actually, I need you next week. Can we talk soon? But yeah, like now I'm in a position where I got some good homies who could just come by and hold it down. And also, like, the overhead's a lot smaller now. I don't have insane shit to really be worried about. Like, it's and I feel better about that now. Like, even though I still have a bunch of fucking reptiles here, it's nothing that I can't handle. And I think that's what it's all about. Like, you gotta, because I was always told you got to keep it fun, right? Like, if you're not having fun, what the fuck are you doing? Because this all started at a place of, fun, therapeutic, like getting away from real life and just having, enjoying it, and so I was very like on top of like, dude, get back to that. Like, don't make this a dreadful thing. Because like I said, like the mangroves were dreadful to go deal with. It was hard sometimes, bro. It really was.
Yeah, so I don't know how you do it with the lizards, because we were gone. We left for that. That's what's holding me back on getting any kind of lizard is just the level of care that they need, because we went on a vacation and we were gone for 9 days. And thankfully we had our friends Kathy and Sarah come over, and they would just check on everything visually. And then of course we had like a tropical storm blow through and knock out the Wi-Fi. So none of my cameras were working. I didn't know what the lights were doing. I didn't know if they were even on, if the heat was on. I didn't know, what was going on with the collection. And thankfully I had two really good friends in them that they came over and like restarted the router and like went above and beyond and hooked us up with good care. But if you don't have somebody like that, I couldn't imagine it, like just taking the whole family and then you can't enjoy your time off in a way. So yeah, I wanted to get a panther chameleon really bad. But now I'm just like, the amount of care, what if we want to go on a week-long vacation, who's going to take care of that chameleon,
Yeah. I mean, for me, bro, like if you have the right enclosure for a tree monitor and they're well maintenance on the normal, they could go a couple days without, being fucked with, but I'm on top of their water. Like, so like, for instance, for me leaving next week, I leave on Wednesday. I would have someone come Friday, give them fresh water, spray them. And then by Sunday, that's when I come home and I'll be good. So like, yeah, tree monitors isn't something that like you could set it up where like you could be gone a couple days, but they are something where you do want to make sure that they are getting sprayed. They'll drink straight from getting sprayed. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I mean, it's tree monitors are definitely something where, 2 days tops, you could maybe forget about that, but then you need to go back and, be prepared and see what the fuck's going on. So
do they like shit down the walls of their cage and everything? Like, is it a mess?
Gnarly. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. So I have pretty good, like, they'll either shit on their pothos plants or they'll shit in the water. I get a lot of shit in the waters. And they'll shit on the side of the walls too. What the kind of thing that kind of gets grimy after a while is when you give them a quail, they like to go take the quail and eat the quail while pushing it against the wall. So there's like sometimes quail guts and fucking like the yolk and you're like, my God, I need to get in there and wipe it. But it cleans up pretty quick, and they can be dirty business, man. But if you're always like me, every day, it's like every day, if I'm home, then every day I check on them. Every day is a spray. Every day I'm fucking with them and like making sure they're good. I try to wipe, especially because I do vlogs and I don't want that shit getting on the vlogs a lot. So, it is something where it is a daily routine maintenance thing with the tree monitors. Tree monitors are not snakes, bro. That's a whole nother maintenance level of fucking reptile keeping. Are monitors. You're definitely right. The bigger, the harder. I'll tell you that right now, bro. Dude, I love Mac Dre and Alice. I really miss them. I got kind of a little emotional the other night or other morning because I was building enclosures and like Alice, I used to let them roam my room a lot. So Alice would get behind the enclosure, but she would climb up with the wall. So all I saw were her claw marks from when she used to climb.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I was like, oh man, that kind of like, that hit home. But bro, you want to talk about a burden off my shoulders? Fuck, dude, those things were no joke. Like their shits, like every damn minute they're scrubbing shit off their platforms. You know what I mean? Wow, after they were rubbing in it, and I'm like, dude, this is nuts. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, they're so dirty, bro. Like, and mind you, like they could be dirty, but if you follow people like John from Sim Container and you see these fucking beautiful lace monitors, you don't want your lace monitors to look like shit. And so I would try so hard to get Mac Dre and Alice to look like John's lace monitors, and I can never pull it off, bro, ever. They were just so much. And the thing is, I loved them, bro. They were like really, really smart. Like and another thing about monitors, bro, like you appreciate their intelligence. Like, they trust you. Like you had somebody on your show not too long ago talk about it was the companionship, or what were you guys? It was a lady. You guys were talking about like the analogy of like, can you bond with a snake, or can you bond, or was it?
Oh yeah, just being mindful while holding snakes. Yeah, we were talking about just kind of being in that moment and being mindful, and how you have to kind of it kind of quiets, in my opinion, personally. I don't know about you, but if you're holding a snake that's kind of sketchy, that's going to quiet down all the chatter in your mind because you're thinking about,
Tune out.
yeah, you're thinking about just the animal and what's going on right then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've toyed with the idea of getting a black dragon.
Dude, I was supposed to get a black dragon before a lace monitor. God, I didn't fucking do that. Holy shit, black dragons, bro.
Well, I'm in Florida, so if I did it, it would be in an outdoor enclosure without a doubt.
But dude, the whole like coin flip of either it's going to be a nice black dragon or it's going to be a murderer, and there's nothing you could do about it. Like that's the thing that scares me about a black dragon, bro.
Yeah, I would need to make sure that I'm getting one from somebody that I know and that they're like really,
Good
accustomed to being around people. And yeah. I
will say though, like there's that whole lineage of good docile monitors is a thing. It's just like dogs, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to get a pit bull and you find a good strong lineage of the parents being good with kids and all that usually sticks with them. And I think that's the truth with monitors too. Like, you got people out there who have, like to be held type monitors and they breed, and that's a good chance that you are going to get something that could be tolerated like that. But it's also, you don't know either. Like you can't really predict the outcome of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the Timors that I got from Ryan, the worst part is getting them out of the cage. Like that's their time that they're going to musk and try to get away. But as soon as they're out and away from the cage, they're super chill, and I could hold them. I've sat down outside and just drank coffee while holding one of them, just super chill and laid back.
You ever open up the cage and let them come out on their own? Like just like slide it and just see what they do?
I don't think that's a thing. Not with, I've done it. I've opened the door and they just sense me in the room and they're not about it. They're not about coming out.
Cruise. That one seems like, okay, like for instance, if we weren't on a podcast and we were chilling in your room, I guarantee, that one looks curious. The one that's cruising right now behind you.
He might be hungry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's Philip Timor Hoffman. So he's, he's a little bit older and
yeah. And also too, like, I don't know if I ever see a snake cruising, obviously it's hungry, but I also think it's thinking. I don't think it's kind of too stressed at that time. So I always like, fucking, all right, come out if you want to come out. Especially because I have had some pretty gnarly chondros that are like you go in there and they're like fucking just trying to bite your head off. Even after they ate, they don't give a fuck. But if you get them out and you let them start cruising, and once they start cruising, that whole like, I want to take your head off goes away, Yeah. But then sometimes they do focus back on you and it's like, oh, here we go. But I always feel like if, let them cruise. Like if they want to cruise, let them cruise. Especially if you want to kind of see if you could chill out a snake that you have that's pretty aggressive, get them to cruise and then see what happens. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, if this wasn't live, I'd totally try taking him out, but he'd probably bust his cloaca all over my microphone or something, and then we'd be done.
Oh man, it was crazy. Like I had a bunch of scrubs at one point, not even too long ago before I let all my scrubs go, but I had had my big bar neck scrub python. I was cleaning her out. And she's big, but she was such a sweetheart. I would just put her over my neck and I would maintenance her cage. I wouldn't give a fuck. Like she was that sweet. But then there was one time where I had her paired up and I don't know what was going on, but she was just kind of like a little hyped up. And as I had her around my neck, putting her back in the enclosure, she fucking musked. And the musk went in my mouth, bro. It went.
Oh no!
It went in my mouth, my ear, and a little bit in my eye. And I'll never forget remember in science class, like that sink that had like the fucking, in case something went into your eyes.
Yeah, the eye wash station.
Bro, I was like, I went to my sink screaming like dude, like dry heaving. It was so gnarly, bro. And dude, I could taste and smell musk for like, I think like 3 days straight after that, bro. It was terrible. It was terrible.
That's dedication. Terrible.
Yeah.
Man, maybe an eye wash station isn't a bad idea in a snake building.
Oh. I can still see though. I'm good.
Yeah, you can probably get those on like Blue Book or Granger or something. It's probably not a bad idea.
Let's kind of talk about the people you've had on the show. Like, what are some of the episodes that kind of stand out to you, Adam? Like, you know, like anyone's even maybe recently that you like kind of felt like had a huge impact on either just people responding over it or just even how you felt over it? What are some of the big episodes you feel like?
Oh man, I don't know. It's so hard to say. I mean, just listening back to some of them to get like clips. I'm trying to do more clips and things like that. And you know, I found a clip with Dr. Julander, and I all of a sudden I'm just like listening to the episode, and I had it on at work, and my coworker is like, "Oh, that's actually pretty interesting," you know. And then like he asked me to leave it on, like he didn't want me to turn it off. And this is a guy that's like not into snakes, doesn't have any snakes or anything. So it's so hard to say. I like it when every time I sit down to talk with somebody, it's like a totally different experience, you know? And I really like the friendship that kind of comes from it too. And like, you know, like Rich Crowley was fantastic.
What a guy.
Yeah. Such a good guy and a wealth of knowledge. And you know, like somebody that like walks the walk too, as far as, you know, the Herp Society and, you know, helping owners and animals that need to be rescued and rehomed and all that. So it's like people like that, just, it's like, man, I wish that I could be as devoted as you are, you know, to the hobby and like just doing things like that out of the goodness of your heart. You know, just helping out the hobby and being like a glue to hold it together, you know, that just taking in animals that aren't wanted anymore and finding them a place where they're wanted, you know, where it's totally selfless.
Yeah. You know, I sometimes think like what I can do sometimes, like, yeah, I'm a huge advocate of supporting USARK and stuff like that. But like locally, I feel like what can I do impact locally to either anyone in my area? I mean, there's still people in San Diego who they see a rattlesnake, they want to kill it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, you know, now that I have a son, you know, getting involved with his school, maybe I could see it happening, but it's something I do want to implement at some point. Like but I just feel like I'm doing so much now, but I feel like, you know, everything I do now benefits me. You know what I mean? But I feel like at some point, when am I going to like benefit other people or like help out? And you know, people like Rich Crowley, and then there's other people, I don't know, I'm trying, what's his name, oh my god, Brian Gundy. You know who Brian Gundy is?
No.
That's an OG, man. You gotta look him up. Brian Gundy, that guy right there is somebody who goes far and beyond of getting people over their fear of snakes, and like, you know, the children and stuff like that, like educational side, like definitely, like, you know, see how that's overlooked way too much in this hobby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and also you're creating the next generation of herpetoculturists. You know, you're bringing the next generation into it then, and you're educating them, and you're taking that fear away. And exactly what you just said is something I want to do. I want to you know, figure out whatever I have to do with the state to be able to bring the animals into my kids' school and show them to the kids and like break down any of that negative emotion. And then, you know, they can go home and tell their parents. And, you know, like, I feel like it would be a beneficial thing to do that. And a lot of people make a business out of that too. I mean, as you know, doing, you know, birthday parties and stuff like that. I don't think that you could realize the impact it could have on kids at that age, just like you had, right? With the Burmese python. I had the same thing. Was it a Burm? You said a Burm, right?
Say it again.
The snake that you were obsessed with as a kid. And Argentine. Sorry. For me, it was a Burm. It was my uncle had Burmese pythons. And so, you know, we have those things that happen to us when we're young, and who knows, like if those interactions hadn't happened, you know, would you be where you are right now?
Dude, I am where I am at. I am where I am at with the love of the snakes and reptiles because of the experience. And I've talked about this numerous times. I had this uncle who had crazy property in Pennsylvania, and he kept ostriches. Like, he was in the exotic trade game. Like, this fool had fucking shit from different countries on his property. And then he had a house that was the reptile house. And I was only 6 years old. Basically, they're like, all right, go fucking roam, do what you want. And I went into this house, okay, and every room was a different room per reptiles, and then I ended up being in a venomous room. And bro, like I still remember this shit to this day. Like I remember going in rooms, walking around, like hearing like rattles and like things hitting the glass, and I'm thinking like, am I supposed to be in here? Like I don't know, but like literally being in there for I don't know how, at least 20 minutes, bro. And then there's like a tub right there with a screen cover over it, and there's a bunch of dwarf caimans in the tub. Like,
oh my god,
yeah, I could easily just put my hand in there if I wanted to, and here I am, just here. You know what I mean? And so, I as much as that's like, wow, sweet parenting. At the end of the day, like, I take all that shit to my grave. And mind you, like every summer I would go to Pennsylvania. I went to my uncle's house. So ever since I was 6 to about 14 years old, I went to my uncle Lloyd's house, and it was always the reptile. It was the first thing I went to was, well, I would see the ostriches. I thought the ostriches were crazy. So I would see the ostriches and then go straight to the reptile house and just be like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is this? You know? But you're right. It all starts when you're a kid, bro. It really does. And you know, like I said, who's gonna teach a lot of these kids who aren't even aware of this stuff, you know? And I don't know.
I mean, we went to like a school event, and you know, it was some award thing or something like that, right? And they encourage you to bring in snacks, and we try to do things healthy, right? So we're bringing in like fruit bowls and things like that. And some of the kids in my kids' class said that they had never had cantaloupe before, like they had never had like melon.
Wow.
And so it's like, you know, so it's like not everybody lives the same life. You know, people have a totally different journey. So I you know, you think that too with snakes and everything. Like, is this kid ever going to see a snake or be able to touch a snake up close, you know, and in a safe way to be able to know that it's not going to hurt them?
Yeah. Yeah. Facts. All right, we're going to cut to commercial, guys. We'll be right back, so sit tight. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. One of the things I love about being a part of the reptile industry is all the learning, okay? Learning can be fun, and I can prove that to you. Thank you so much to today's sponsor, Gary Scavino over at GS Reptiles. I highly recommend you head over to his YouTube channel, follow all this man's content when it comes to learning about rare species of snakes you could be keeping in the hobby, and also just finding out how easy a lot of these rare species of snakes are to keep in general. So thank you so much, Gary Scavino of GS Reptiles. Again, head over to his YouTube channel. Also head over to his Instagram to be on top of all of his current work and be ready for a big year over at GS Reptiles. Thank you so much, Gary, for your ongoing support. I really appreciate it. Cheers. One of the biggest growths we have in the reptile industry today are the rare species of reptiles that aren't worked with. That's right. That's why I went ahead and partnered up again with Brian Susan over at SUNDOWN Reptiles. Brian works with species such as kahua geckos, gargoyle geckos, all species of tree monitors. He works with Abronia and many other cool species geckos that you can check out all on his website. Head over to sundownreptiles.com, see what he has available. Brian's one of the best doing it in the reptile industry today. He's been on the show multiple times, so make sure you check out all of Brian Susan's episodes on Trap Talk Reptile Network. But more importantly, for the highest quality of captive-bred reptiles, make sure you head over to sundownreptiles.com and make sure you give him a follow on Instagram. Thank you again, Brian Susan over at SUNDOWN Reptiles. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Green tree pythons, emerald tree boas, and plenty other arboreal snakes have been quite the popularity here at the Trap Talk Reptile Network, which brings me to today's sponsor, the Reptile Perch. Head over to thereptileperch.com and Reptile Perch on Instagram. See what type of design PVC perch is best for your arboreal reptile. But first and foremost, I would also check out David Brom's Green Tree Python availability on the website. And you can also check out his Instagram just to stay current on any projects or any productions that he posts. Thank you so much, David Broms, for your ongoing support. Looking forward to seeing what you have to show in the 2025 season. Shout out to today's sponsor, and that is the COCO Dude. #1 chipper substrate in the game. Everything you see behind me, all my emerald tree boas, my green tree pythons are all over that beautiful COCO chip over at cocodude.com. Go to cocodude.com, place your order. I prefer the COCO to go. It's already broken down, less dust, the chunks are perfect. But yes, I like the COCO to go. No matter what your total is in your cart, if you put in TRAPFAM25 in the promo code, you are now going to get 25% off your entire order. Thank you so much, the COCO Dude, for doing that for all my trappers. Again, #1 substrate in the game. Less stuck sheds, less dust. It's the best place to be, and that's the COCO Dude. Again, COCODude.com. Put in promo code TRAPFAM25 and get yourself 25% off the entire order. Thank you so much, COCO Dude. Cheers. All right, we're back. Dude, how do you start? You're in Florida, so your humidity is no issue where you're at. Like you don't have any issue with humidity, right?
You'd be surprised because we have the AC running constantly, so it's dehumidifying the air in the house.
So, are you running into issues with stuck sheds, or have you nah?
Not yet. With the exception of my ball python. Like one time, I don't know what happened. I think that, and maybe you can speak to this, but sometimes doing like the podcast, you got a lot of inputs, right? And you hear so many different ways to do things successfully. And I was like, I'm just gonna, cool it on the misting and everything will be fine. And it was like her shed skin exploded in that cage. I mean, it was like little pieces everywhere. What was that?
She get it all off, or is there a bunch on her still?
There was still some on her. She had to be soaked, and yeah, it was on everything, dude. Like in the cocoa chip, up on the branch, in the foliage, everything. It was a nightmare. And after that, I was like, I'm just gonna stick with what I'm doing, which I miss the cages maybe 2 to 3 times a week, and I have a humidifier that runs in the room too. Without that, like the room right now is at like 55% humidity. But without that, it would be down at 40. And so, yeah, it's kind of required. Like I said, the AC runs constantly. So it's worse during the summer when it's actually really humid outside.
I know you're going to run into certain species you keep when you're going to find out like how important humidity is. Like it's a factor to certain species that you keep. A lot of it you could, there's a lot of reptiles you could keep with poor humidity that will just give you stuck sheds, but they won't die. They'll just give you a bunch of stuck sheds.
Yeah,
that sucks to deal with. But you got certain species and mainly like you see issues when they're gravid or like when there's stuff going involved, right? Because I feel like hydration and all that really plays a factor when they have stuff going on in them. And for me, I've always been a spray advocate. Like I always sprayed. I just sprayed right now. I always spray the living shit out of my fucking chondros. Like I would always, because of the humidity issue, I would always fucking battle against. And then once I figured out how I could help my humidity out in my room, I started noticing like, holy shit, like I'm getting complete sheds on snakes I forgot to spray. You know what I mean? I'm like, like maybe I don't have to spray as much, right? And so then now you think, okay, now you don't have to spray as much, but then now you realize like you have certain snakes that never had an issue shitting, having issues shitting because you're not spraying them. And I'm like, fuck. And now that I think about it, spraying is like, okay, everything has triggers, right? Like for reptiles, like for instance, like there's temp cycling, there's all this shit to make them trigger something, right? I feel like there needs to trigger some of these snakes to shit and do things normally. You know what I mean? And so, I went from one point as far as spraying to fucking give me a peace of mind and help the shed. So now figuring out, maybe I don't need a spray, but then here we are having some snakes like not being able to fucking shit normally for whatever reason because of the spraying. And now I know this, Adam, like if I ever had an emerald or if I had a snake that was like prolonging their shit, all I have to do is take them out, get them going, spray them, and then they shit every single time. That's all I have to do to get them to shit is get them. And so, I don't want to fucking beat a dead horse, but I had a northern, sorry, not northern. I had a Numford, not a Numford. I'm tripping. I'm sorry. I recently had my first designer chondro die from a fucking egg bound situation. And what she had in her before I could even get to the meat potatoes, the eggs, is she had some old shit stuck in her, bro. Like I'm talking like a whole bowel movement. Like not only the calcified, not only the urates, right? Because normally you'll see urates in a snake still, but she still had the brown shit in her, and it was fucking hard as a rock. And I can't sit here and say, for sure that was it. But man, what would have been if she wouldn't have not had that huge shit blocking all that? You know what I mean? Could have been a different scenario. I don't know, but that was one snake who never gave me a bad shed. It skipped his prelay shed, which was weird, right? Like I know you don't really hear a lot of skipped prelay sheds almost with anything, but with chondros it happens every time. It's happened to me 3 times, and so this girl skipped her prelay shed. I thought nothing of it, thinking, you know, because I like in my mind she never gave me issues of shitting, but apparently she had this shit in her that she never passed, and so yeah, dude, like, and I wasn't spraying her a lot either because I thought my humidity was fucking perfect, and so it's like damn if you do, damn if you don't, bro. Like it's fucking nuts. It's so
you think that was a hydration issue?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. I mean, obviously I can't 100% tell you, but I mean, I don't know. I just like, why didn't she shit that fucking shit out? She was probably hydrated. You know what I mean? And so, and you know, I don't know, like I should have like a bunch of things you should have done. Right. But I definitely should have paid attention to her drinking. And I thought, you know, I don't, here you go. It's fucking just for thinking you're set. But I thought everything was good to go. And even with her prelay shed being skipped, I think even if I just would have soaked her right then and there, if I would have gave her a soak, that would have triggered maybe something for her to pass it or something. But
what is your humidity ambient in the room?
I'm sweating balls. It's like 63 right now, and it's not even on. It's okay. So it's 59 right now, but my humidifier is not on. Once my humidifiers are on, it's 70. It's popping in here now, bro.
What kind of humidifiers do you use?
The Air Care. Remember I showed you the ones. Didn't you ask me what are the brands? And I told you Air Care. You're like, oh, that's the actual brand. Wasn't that you? No,
I don't know if that was me.
I posted a story of me getting my second humid. It was like a white fucking thing. It's called Air Care.
Okay.
But you know, you could type in Air Care whole room humidifier on Amazon. They're like $160 or something like that. But yeah, bro, I got 2 of those motherfuckers now, and I've never had such humidity, and it sucks. You know, I'm fucking sweating balls right now, but it's all, I know my snakes love it, and I do know, man, humidity is something that a lot of these snakes prefer, bro, because it's where they're from. It's humid as fuck, like especially emeralds, man, and that's the thing I'm getting at, right? Like I lost my Vinsky blue line to that situation. I think the emerald I lost last year, same situation. I think it was a hydration thing. I really do.
I saw you. Weren't you just recently pulling stuck shed off of an emerald?
Yeah. So you want to?
That was a wild video.
Yeah, it was a wild video. But you see,
and he's like low key, like trying to bite you.
No, but did you see how she calmed down after she figured out what I was doing? Once she saw like what I was doing, she stopped and she just sat there. And dude, I got all the shit off of her. And dude, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty hammered that night. Like I was loose. Like I was, I go back and watch that video. I'm like, holy shit, bro! Like it was pretty G that I didn't panic. Like I just sit there, but like even I was kind of like, holy fuck. But like yeah. So with that emerald, that whole like my whole humidity thing was figured out before that emerald went into her post ovulation shed. But the thing is. And I learned this right now. I learned this not too long ago, but like I've been keeping my emeralds like the chondros. Like I've been keeping them like preferably like not like mid to low 80s. You know what I mean? But with her being gravid and with things happening with her, she like needed all the heat that she was getting, and so meaning like the mid to low 80s just wasn't enough for her. So all she would do was stay under the panel. And so and my idea was I'm gonna bump her heat up after she sheds, but I was all over the humidity. I was like, okay, look at the humidity gauges. I had multiple gauges showing that the humidity was in the 90s. Okay. And I'm waiting for a shed. 30 days goes by and I'm like, dude, she should have shed by now. And I pull her out and I look and I could see like a little tiny piece on her nose. And I'm like, fuck. Like, and dude, mind you, there's like maybe a couple sheds breaking, but I'm like, dude, this is a really bad case of stuck shed. Like, this is like worst case. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so I soak her for a whole goddamn day, which was stressful, having a gravid female soak. So I'm soaking her for a whole goddamn day. I eventually able to get the stuck shed off. I'm talking to Christopher Rice. You know who Coach Rice is? I'm sure you know who Coach Rice is, right? Spirit Snake?
Yeah.
Have you had him on your show yet?
No.
Oh my God. Put that guy on your bucket list, please. That guy's epic, bro. He's dialed in. But anyways, we came to realize that she's under that panel so much where she's just getting dried out. Like no matter what is happening around her, when you stay under that panel of heat, you're going to dry out no matter what. So now what I did was, obviously I got that stuck shit off of her, right? But then I was thinking, like, I don't want her stuck. Like, I don't want to put her back and her just stay under the panel. Like, that's not normal. Like, a snake needs to move. Like, a snake should never just sit in one spot, because you would think in the wild it goes to a place to get heat and then it goes back to where it was to be safe, right? And so I was like, there needs to be something. So Chris Rice keeps everything ambient, bro. Like, he doesn't, no supplemental heat. He just lets his room do everything for him. And so what he tells me is that his emeralds, the way the sun comes up and hits the daylight, hits through the window, there's a peak time of the day where that sun hits a certain spot where it's like mid 90s. And so he'll see all his emeralds go to the spot, sit there for the 3 hours. Once that sun goes away, then they go back to their other spot. So, and mind you, the ambient in his room is pretty warm. It's like 84 in his entire room. I'll give or take, So
like all day, or does it rise and fall?
Day, no. I mean, it rises, and I would say it kind of stays. I think for a gravid female, he keeps it during the day about 84 ambient. Like, that's the average ambient of that animal. And then it will drop at night. He does do a natural drop at night. So I was,
do you know how low it goes?
Yeah, like if it's this time of year, like low 70s. Like, I think he even had a like high 60 night one time, and it was
wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so he lets it drop down, like the way it drops down, but he gives them that heat at that moment, right? So I was like, this is what I'll do. I'll give it basking for 4 hours. Okay. I'll give it basking at like 90, 91 or whatever for 4 hours. And just like clockwork, bro, that basking turns on. Within 2 hours, she moves away from the basking and goes towards, she's there now. You can see her right here now. So my basking is normally there. That's where the basking's at. She's over here now. So now I just saw this whole change in behavior. She was one snake, bro, who would never leave the heat. She would always stay under the heat. And I always thought that was fucking weird. But ever since I did this small adjustment, bro, she moves. And what's crazy is when she goes back to bask, she doesn't always go bask at the same spot. Like, she's like either halfway there, or like she has like her preferred like basking spots now. You know what I mean? So I think that's more natural. Like, that's something you should see in a reptile, is them acting like that. You know what I mean?
For sure. So she still has the heat panel. That's what you're using to provide that heat?
Right. So so I provide heat from the basking turns on at 8 a.m. and it goes till 12. So from 8 to 12, that panel's on at like 90 something. And then at 12, it shuts off to where it's the same heat as all the other chondros, which I only set the panel for all this whole wall. The panels are set to 81. I don't let the panels get hotter than 81, because I'll let my room get to like 83, 84 sometimes at the hottest. But what's
the temperature? So like, what's the coolest it gets?
73, 74.
Okay. So at night it's going down to like 73, 74. And then during the day it goes up to 83, 84.
Peak time. Yeah. That's like that's like a warm day. And for the most part, I don't let my room get over 82.
Are you controlling that? Like,
yeah. I can control it by just keeping my door shut, or if I need to open the door, I'll turn my mini split on. I got a mini split in here as well, so I'm able to control the temps and fuck with it. But I know my room and my time of year. Like, if I don't do nothing at all, my room will always naturally get to like 81, 82. And if I don't do nothing, it's a warm day outside, it'll get to like 84. But then it's not for long. I'll come in here and But I feel like, if you're not giving them a basking of 87 or 88, 84 ambient's perfect. Like, I think, especially for a chondro, like, they don't need a lot of heat. People think chondros need this crazy heat. They don't. Like, chondros actually prefer it in the low 80s. Like, that's a hot spot. That's a good happy medium heat spot for a chondro, based off of what I've been experiencing. And I think emeralds, they do need a little bit warmer, but they just need that basking at that peak time of the day. Like, they do need that 90 option at some point of the day, and then they can handle the mid to lower 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've recently kind of changed the way that I'm heating all my snakes to where they all have Exoterra bulbs now, just 25 watt bulbs, and those turn on at I can't remember, but they turn on, and then a half hour later the UV light turns on. And then that's on for like a 12-hour period. And then at the end of the day, the UV turns off and the heat's on for another 30 minutes. And as soon as that UV turns off, that's when everybody starts getting active, even while the basking light is still on. And they'll actually come out of hiding, go to their basking spot, and soak up some last heat. It's like they know it's about to go out.
Yeah.
And they'll get that, and then they're ready to cruise for the night. And my room will get down to, 71, 72 at night with no supplemental heat at all. Everything is off in the entire room. Now, what concerns me is what am I going to do when I have a gravid Argentine boa? Is she going to need to get her body temperature up to 87 constantly? Or am I going to be able to have her dip down at night and then warm up during the day?
From what I know, there's people out there who only give them the basking during the day and they let the night get down to night. I've heard through with boas, you want to leave it. You want to leave that basking on. Once they're gravid, once the big show happens, they ovulate. It's fucking go time. You want to leave that basking 24/7. From what I've been told.
Yeah.
Just for gravid females. Now, mind you, too, like I this emerald when at night her basking or her panel stays at 80. So even though it's colder out here, I still keep that at 80. And most of the times she's either under it or right, like kind of by it. But that's the time where like she's under the basking at night, and then not at night she's away from it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm still figuring this, bro. Remember, we're all idiots, bro. So we're just, I don't know, man. Like I thought I was onto something every time, and then boom, I get kicked in the fucking face. So, yeah. But all I know is like it keeps me motivated. Like I like learning this shit. Like I've had so many failures, bro. But those failures, like I feel like I'm getting closer to like at least getting more. Like I don't repeat the same failures, if that makes sense. Like I'm trying to figure out this shit and then move on and then find out the next failure. And because I feel like that's all it is it's constant learning, dude. Like there's no fucking day where you're like, all right, I'm an expert on everything. Like I don't even like that word expert. Like I know there's people who know their shit, but goddamn, to call yourself an expert in the reptile world, that's a heavy fucking how. Like how are you an expert? Tell me. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. Like I think so much of this shit is so unpredictable, and you hear so many crazy stories, and mainly with the chondros, man, like so many fucking wild stories that you hear that like no matter how good you are at keeping, like you can't avoid some of this shit. Like no matter what.
That's why I don't want them. I want them, but at the same time, it's like I don't want the headache. I don't want to, because oh man, the thought of like losing an animal would that's terrible.
Yeah, dude. And it gets deep, bro. Like, did you ever know who Forrest Fanning was? He was the original owner of Cold Blooded Cafe.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
He had a crazy rare collection. Anyways, like my biggest love from emeralds came from Forrest. Like Forrest really implanted like emerald tree boas, and he had some of the last productions from Rico Wilder. Have you heard of Rico Wilder? Did that name ring a bell at all?
No.
So this guy's a legend. So anyways, Rico Wilder produced these Miss Willie line and Northern Emerald Tree line. They're a line of Northern Emerald Tree boas, and Forrest had these snakes. They were his favorite snakes. He passed away, and then I got these snakes. I was able to get those snakes from him, and then both those fucking snakes died on my hands.
Oh no!
Yeah, not simultaneously. So one of them, that was kind of the older one out of the two, I tried breeding her, and it just didn't work out. Like breeding her just wore her out, and once it wore her out, she just tanked. But then the other one, I got gravid. That's the other one that fucking went the distance, and she died after her not giving birth, and I had to fucking cut the babies out of her. I literally sliced her down the side and pulled out 9 full-term Northern Emerald Tree boas, bro. Pure Miss Willies, by the way. Like, dude, the legacy of carrying the Miss Willie was literally like, I was one of those people who had that in my hands. Luckily, we got Ryan Woolson. Shout out to Ryan. But I'm just saying, like, I could have had that.
Man.
You're in my freezer.
Oh, my God.
All those motherfuckers, bro. I mean, at least I got something. But, dude, that shit right there, that's a gut. Like, I've had so many gut-checking moments like that, bro, in this game. Dude.
Have you ever had a ball python die on you?
No. I mean, I've had a ball python. I've had a breeder male just, like, tank out of nowhere. But it's very uncommon. Like my dude, you want to talk about something I'm very confident with are my ball pythons. I will do waiting lists all day on ball pythons. Yeah, I guarantee you a live ball python all day for sure. And at least I have that. Like that's why I will never get rid of the ball pythons, because at least I'm good at that. You know what I mean?
How many ball pythons do you have?
Oof. Man, I would have to say a little over 100.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a lot, bro. I had over 200 at one point. I had a lot of ball, like not even including the chondros. All I had a shit ton of ball pythons, and I scaled down quite a bit the last couple years. So now I have about like 60 adults, and the rest are like raise ups and some babies and stuff like that.
That's wild.
But it's all good shit. Like it's all like, you know, I have stuff that I want to like. I'm not one of those people who have ball pythons they hate, and I like my ball pythons. Like I got some sick ass shit, and I know that like, you know, I have a mission behind my projects, and you know, and it's all thankful to people like Mark Bailey, like people who put some amazing stuff in my collection. So, and I, you know, like I said, it's fun. You know, it's cool to be good at something. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, you're never gonna kill a ball python.
No, bro. Like you'll get your like little weak hatchlings now and again, but it's like, bro, everything else you don't deal with. It's like literally set it and forget it. It's awesome. Like I forgot I had 2 clutches in the incubator right now. They're probably, who knows, they probably hatched, but they'll be fine, guarantee it. They're alive. They probably crawled out 10 days ago. Yeah, but I don't know, man. I think it's important to do things that keep you humble. And you know, dude, that's chondros for sure. I don't think I've ever been so humbled in my life. But I'm somebody who needs that. And I think the reptile world, I think people who come in to the reptile world mature so much. Like they learn a lot of things, man. And I'm thankful a lot for the reptile world and where I'm at, because you know, I was kind of a mess before I came in here. But yeah, dude, I don't know, like living things is like the stuff that we keep is, I would have never thought in a fucking million years, 20 years ago, like this is what I'd be keeping and doing. And it only gets more crazier. Like it's just, you know, the more people I meet, the more crazier it gets. So
yeah, 100%.
It's a fun.
How many chondros do you have?
Woof. Oh, now we're talking. Well, this whole wall. Okay. So I have 18 females, like adult females. I have 18 adult females.
Jeez.
And I have 9 males, so 9 breeder males, and then I have about 13 raise ups. So what's that? And then add another 13 babies that I hatched out. So what's the math?
Wow.
I don't know. I'm in the 40s, almost 50s now, I think.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm fucking
all red neos, right?
No. Dude. Oh my god, yeah. No, I got some yellows for sure. My very first chondro was a yellow neonate. You know what I mean? And I really, dude, I kind of like drag it on a little bit, but I definitely think yellow neonates are awesome. Especially like if you like pure locality stuff. Like, do you even know what you like yet? Are you pretty confident you're on the pure locality side of things?
Yeah. If I ever get anything, it's going to be pure locality, and just the greener the better. Honestly,
Ryan Young's like, my man. He's all happy.
Yeah, the greener the better, and I like the blue. You know, a little bit of blue added into the green. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm drawn to. I like the natural look of things, you know, or at least the somewhat natural look. That's kind of what I like that, you know. I like a.
You're a purist.
Yeah, like I got some blood pythons coming, and they're gonna be. They're het for nothing. They're just, you know, line bred blood pythons.
From Rich?
From Kara.
Kara. Who's Kara?
Kara Norris, the blood cell.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. She she's got in Rich's book, there's just loads of pictures of her animals in there, and yeah, that kind of, I mean, it's wild, the stuff that she has.
Is that next best thing for your collection is the bloods?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the closest I can get to, you know, a really big, heavy-bodied python without, you know, a really big python. So, you know, it's not something, I don't know. I'm going to have to keep them. I'm just getting a pair, and I'm going to keep them and see what the experience is like, because everybody's kind.
What are you going to keep them in? I'm curious.
A rack, you know, for a while, you know, yeah, it's going to be you know, long term, I'd like to get them into some cages, but it's going to depend on the animals and how they feel about it, and you know, all that. And but everybody's kind of scaring me off of them because everybody I talk to talks about how much they pee and how substrate is just constantly changed out because they just dump loads of pee. And
yeah, that's bullshit, because I gotta tell you, like, yeah, you get urates, but they like that. They love that cocoa chip wet. They like it super humid. They don't like it too hot. I know that. Like, if you want a quick tip, don't give them a crazy hot spot or anything. They like it cooler. They're on the cooler side of things. But they shit once every 2-3 months. Like, what are you talking about? Like, they barely shit, bro. But when they do shit, they shit the size of your forearm. They fucking shit crazy. But blood pythons take they go months without shitting. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've heard that the shits are few and far between, but there's copious amounts of urine. So
yeah, and you know what? Like, I don't think it's enough to where like you're like, oh, what's that smell? But you know, as far as like having to go in there and it's like, oh, disaster. It's just it's not that bad. I don't think, you know, and I think they urate because they like it. They want to urate. I feel like they're ball pythons, bloods, like they're messy snakes. Like they like that shit. They really, especially when breeding goes down, bro, all the urates and musking, that shit's like, I feel like it's like a marking territory thing. I really do. But I like I said, you know, like I don't bat an eye at urates. Like, you know, even if it comes down to pairing, I'll leave a little white poo in there. I don't give a fuck. Like let it keep it stinky in there. I'm cool with that. But like once you see the other stuff, it's game time for sure. That's did you ever follow Dan Magano?
I got turned on to his YouTube videos like a year or two ago.
He checked out, man. Like he fucking got rid of a lot of snakes, and
it's too bad.
He got hit hard with everything, and like that bummed me out because that guy right there, bro, he was something else. He was so funny and just so awesome. But like I used to follow his stories every morning. His stories would make me laugh. He was like a fucking comedian to me. But he would post like the shits that his blood would leave, and I'm like, oh my god, bro, like really, really gnarly shits. But mind you, they didn't happen a lot, you know.
Yeah. It like I said, I'm just getting a pair, and it's going to be kind of exploratory and feel it out. And you know, they're going to be you know, grown out in tubs and probably moved up to V70s for a while, and
that's cool.
You know, feel it out. And you know, eventually, ideally, I'd like to have them in maybe like a 4x2x18, you know, with a radiant heat panel, something to just keep a decent ambient temperature. But
yeah, I mean, and another thing too, it's like all this shit that we like, when it comes to breeding, some of this shit's not going to work being in the same room, you know. And that's another big thing why I let the colubrids go, is because I know like how much cooler they do prefer, especially during breeding. Like you got to be able to drop temps for those colubrids, like they need it. And so I remember that time I had them with my emeralds and everything, and I remember I was like scared to drop my temps that low, but like it's hard to do a bunch of this shit we love in the same fucking room. Like some
100%,
of it, and I mean, people like Ryan Young who fucking figured it out, but he's a fucking freak of nature. Like how many Ryan Youngs are out there? You know what I mean? And he's been doing it his whole goddamn life, you know? So, you know, but also it comes down to like, how many rooms do you have to spare, or how many fucking goddamn facilities do you have? And it's, for the most part, everybody just has one, like myself.
Yeah, like I've got my office that I've got a lot of animals in, and then I've expanded out into my formal dining area because we didn't use it. Yeah, my wife was cool with it, so you know, now there's a wall of cages out there, and that'll be, you know, like a lot of that's where the jungles are going to be. That's where the spotted pythons are going to be. So it's going to be a little cooler. It'll get cooler during the winter. And then obviously the diamonds are going to be outside. So they're going to be dropping down into the 40s during the winter. So, which they should need. But I mean, you know, in long term, the diamonds, I plan on keeping them in like 8 foot by 8 foot by 6 foot tall enclosures that are walk-in, you know, with some sort of a little water feature in there, and just big branches everywhere and hides. And yeah, that'll be fun. It'll be fun to build that.
Yeah. So do you have something in store as far as like, cause you said you're not struggling, but you're kind of stressed about how to keep them warm at night or something like that? Like, what are you going to do? Like a nest box, or what are you going to do for them?
Yeah, probably. So, I mean, Tony Doerr has that. He's got, hide boxes that are heated that have a small radiant heat panel inside, and they're running off of a thermostat. So I'm probably going to do something like that. But I don't know, how far I want to take that. How cold I want to get them. How cold do I want to get them? And yeah, that kind of freaks me out, getting them too cold.
What's the coldest it gets in your area, like during the winter? Like, what are we looking at here?
Probably. I think we had a couple days that were high 30s. So, I mean, that's kind of, after talking to Jason Patterson, Aussie Arboreals, he's over in New South Wales area. He's telling me that temperature gets down into the low 30s, and that's where the diamonds are at. So
yeah, I don't know, man. Like, if you have like a pretty well insulated nest box, you might get away with it just fine. If you keep them in there, of course. And I think maybe keeping them in there, even if you maybe do provide a small little panel, like, and until the next day and then let them out. I wonder, did Brandon talk about what he was doing for his? Because I mean, those are just kind of the same temps that we get. We'll get the coldest low 40s, sometimes high 30s, especially where he's at.
Yeah, he has a heated box that they could go into. I think he kept it at 80. I mean, Tony's got coastals out there, and they're like laying out when it's 40 degrees, when it's in the 40s.
Yeah, you're talking about his homie Tony that lives out there with, like, our homie Tony out here, right?
Yeah,
yeah. What you had on your show not too long ago?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yep.
Shout out to Tony. That's my dog. Tony's cool as fuck. Good people right there.
Yeah, and it's cool to see him kind of, keeping a couple different species out there and seeing how they react to the weather and everything. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, sure is. Now, I mean, if we could kind of talk about like what it is breeding wise that you're most like what means to you the most when it comes to thinking about breeding. Like, is there a certain species that like you are pretty passionate about learning to breed at some point? Like, is there a first one on the bucket list or anything like that? Or like, when it comes to breeding, what is it that excites you the most?
The jungles and the diamonds down the road for sure. I've got a pair of ball pythons that could potentially, I think I have 1 in 32 odds of creating a Pompeii. So, nice. So that'll probably be the first thing that I breed, obviously, just based on the timetable of it.
But those aren't in racks, or are those in cages, or where do you have those at?
The female's in a 4x2x2.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the male is she's probably like 2 years old, and then the male he's in a rack still. But I don't know, my son loves them so much I can't get rid of them. So maybe I'll just put them in cages in his room, Oh yeah, hell yeah. Let that be a mini project for him. Yeah. Yeah, but I get the Pompeii.
Yeah. Sure. How does that, you say you have 2 boys, right? So what are their ages again?
7 and 9.
7 and 9. Oh, that's pretty close. 7 and 9.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. I gotta ask you, obviously I'm a lot more wet behind the ears as far as being a dad, but like, having them at that age, what's that like, having boys at 7 and 9? I'm curious.
Having 2 boys, they want to kill each other constantly. I mean, it's constant fighting, and I mean, trying to annoy each other to death.
There's never like a moment where they get along. Like, there's not like anything where like, all right, they're cool with each other, or like it's always like, oh, fuck you, I'm gonna fuck you up, or what?
Yeah, no, they get along. There's probably, what is there, 1,440 minutes in a day. There's probably 5 that they get along. There's probably 5 out of that 5 solid minutes.
Damn.
But yeah, I mean, they can be really, helpful and sweet and kind to each other. And then, it's like a light switch, somebody takes the wrong toy or, does the wrong thing, and
yeah,
forget about it. The one's getting screwed over, getting yelled at by mom, and then the other one smiles and starts laughing, and they just go at it.
Yeah, man. Me and my wife, like we talk about the idea of a second kid, you know, just so he could have someone to play with. But we're like, dude, what if it fucks up? What if it fucks it all up, dude? Like, because he's such a cool kid, and like, and I don't know, like I want to relive a lot of the stuff that I already went through with him, as far as him being like a baby. We're looking at old pictures, and I'm like, god damn, but I don't know, man. A second one, like I know what I did to the family coming in. I was a second one. I was the middle one, and fuck, I rocked everyone's world, dude. I really did. I don't know, man. Like honestly, like if you want to talk about like the true joy of life, like you know, I've had a great life so far, man. I've done a lot of crazy shit, survived a lot of crazy stuff, but nothing has compared to like having a kid. Like this is the best. This is for sure the best. I can't even explain it. Like very happy that I get to work from home, and every morning I'm with my boy, and I feel like something's different every day. But I just, man, the thought of him being 7 or 9 years old, that's very scary to me. You know what I mean? But fucking it's about to head. It's gonna happen.
Man, dude, yeah, you're gonna blink your eyes and he'll be 9.
Damn.
You know, and it's bizarre thinking back to or looking at pictures, you know, on the day that they're born, and it feels like yesterday. And yeah, it's like all the stuff that you heard your parents say or other parents say, it's all true. It flies by. You're sad that you
all the cliche sayings and shit like that. It all fucking sinks in, bro.
Yep. You're sad you didn't do more. You know, it's like, yeah, do everything you can and have another one for sure. If you want to have another one, have another one.
Yeah.
Start pairing.
Bro, like I just dude, we pair. I'm paired, but I'm just saying, like it's fucking like, man, like I can't even think of I couldn't even think about handling more than what I'm handling right now. But I feel like, nah, fuck that shit. It's like, put another plate on, bitch. Don't fucking complain, motherfucker. Let's go.
Oh man, wait until he goes to school too, and then and then it's like, oh, he's so good, and then 2 months later, it's, oh, he's not doing that great in this department in this area, and you know, and they hit you with these bombs constantly throughout the year, and you know, it's also, and then all of a sudden, like my wife will call me and I won't answer, and she'll text me and say it's about something that happened at school, and like immediately you feel horrible.
God, bro.
And then you hear it and you kind of laugh about it, and it's like, okay, that wasn't that serious. Like they were, my 7-year-old they were like plotting a fight, and I'm like, what is this, the UFC? And like, what are they doing over there? What are these kids doing? That they're like choosing teams, like so and so is going to fight this person. They're 7. I've seen these kids. It's yeah.
So somebody squealed them out. Like somebody said that, hey, listen, they got an organized fight fucking club happening, or what happened?
Yeah, I honestly don't know what happened, but they were organizing a fight, and there was sides that kids were taking, and I don't know if she caught wind of it, if the teacher caught wind of it, and she's like the nicest lady in the whole world, and yeah, there's consequences to things like that when 7-year-olds are organizing fights.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to expect, bro. I could tell you one thing. I always get flashbacks of shit that I went through, like, and it's just all stuff I haven't thought about in years, and it's all coming back to me, and I'm like, fuck, like, you know, they always say, like, my dad always used to tell me, wait till you have a son. Like, that's something my dad used to always say to me. Just wait till you have a son. I'm like, oh, so yeah, whatever, dude. Fucking. Me and my dad, we were always like brother. Like we always had like kind of a brother relationship. We were like best friends, you know. But man, like I put that guy through so much, and so, but a lot of it's starting to like connect dots now. And but again, like I said, man, it's the best time ever, and yeah, it's just I try not to blink as much because. But not only that, bro, like doing what we do, like in the reptile world, like I've had so much fun, so much peace in this, that time is this, dude, I can't believe it's 2017 is when this all started for me, man. That's almost 8 years ago.
That's crazy.
That's fucking nuts. You know what I mean? And it doesn't seem like it I feel very fresh. I feel very fucking still wet behind the ears, but that's good though. Like I want to, like I said, I don't think anyone's a real expert in this. And the learning never stops. Like it doesn't stop. I have very close friends who've been in this game for 30, 40 years, man, and they are still learning. So yeah, I needed a humbling situation in life, and this is it. Like I like to be in a place where I don't feel like I know it all. You know what I mean? For sure. I used to be a know-it-all, like, you know, in the whole it was kind of like an Achilles heel like of mine. Like, you know, I always felt like I always fucking whatever I knew was good enough, but man, it's never enough. You know, I feel like no matter what it is, you should always be finding a way to do something better or elevate or evolve. And I've never evolved the way I've evolved in the reptile world, man. And I'm sure you're probably getting an idea of that as well, like doing what you're doing. You got some of the biggest names, like people like NPR who fuck with you, and you're getting a lot of kudos and shit like that from people who don't even like to give kudos out, first and foremost. You know what I mean? A lot of these motherfuckers are sticklers. And I'm one of them too. You never hear me fucking give people in the reptile podcasting field like props, because it's so fucking cheesy and watered down, most of it. I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of it's all T-mood copy down shit, same ball python fucking breeders that you're bringing on. It's like, dude, don't go learn something, please. You know what I mean? And so I just have a little like, I put the blinders on, I call it, and I just fucking stay in my zone, you know. But like I said, like you can't avoid certain shit, and I've seen stuff, some of your work that made me put mad respect on what you're doing, bro. And I feel like, I mean, and you're just doing your thing. I feel like if you're coming in here doing your thing, all shit like that will be noticed someday, you know.
And you know, might as well talk about it. I purposefully didn't hit you up or anything because I was like, he's gonna just think I'm this loser poser, you know. So I'm just like, I'm just, and then you hit me up and you're like, I'm like, oh shit, why is MJ talking to me? Is he gonna tell me to get rid of the podcast, go find another job?
Nah, man. Like I said, I pay attention to the details of episodes and like the guests and all that stuff. And I like to learn from people too. You know what I mean? It'd be cool to have someone do a podcast where I like to tune in. And you know, I was definitely late to the NPR train. You know what I mean? Like I feel like also too, when I started a podcast with Forrest when he was around, like I thought we were the only reptile podcast in existence, and I didn't give a fuck about nothing else. All I cared about was who we were bringing on. And I would hear about NPR and other stuff, and like I purposely didn't want to look into it. And man, like and that's changed obviously in the last couple of years. Like I fucking really fuck with NPR and everything they've done. You know, Eric Owen and you know the you know, Julander, fucking all those guys are sick as shit, man. And you know, just dudes having a good time. And so anyways, like having guys like that give you props and shit like that, I feel like that's, you know, that's what, for me, that's what it's about. You know what I mean?
Oh man, it means so much to me. It doesn't make any sense, and it makes me feel weird. I have a hard time taking any kind of compliments or anything, but like hearing them, like listening to their show, especially after listening to it and learning from it, and just with the over, you know, 14 years of information that they have there, and going to Spotify and typing in a certain species or a certain breeder's name. And same thing with your show, you know, bringing up, you had a fantastic episode with Ryan and Nick, and just talking about feeding and the size of animals, and, you know, and just all these fantastic in-depth conversations. And you know, like you listen and then all of a sudden, you know, you kind of get caught up, and then you're listening to the latest episode, and all of a sudden you hear them, you know, Eric mentioned my podcast, and saying that he likes it was like a mind fuck, you know. And yeah, it's bananas, and I'm honored to come on this show, and it meant a lot to me that you actually reached out and all that. And you're a cool dude, and I appreciate it, man.
No, this was fun, and we gotta definitely do it again for sure. And like I said, bro, like all I see is it's not that. Here's the thing: I hate people who put too much effort into painting a picture that's kind of not what the picture is painted. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm in the reptile hobby, so my peers are people who keep reptiles. So I want to see what you're keeping reptile wise. That's it. And if And I wouldn't say you can't come say hi to me, but like don't expect a relationship out of me if we're not talking reptiles, because that's what I'm here for. Like I'm here for the fucking reptiles. And I'm not saying they can't lead to something, but dude, this is my job and this is my living, and I love reptiles. Like, and that's what it's all about. And so I don't know. I just hope people understand, like, you know, I'm just very like locked into what I'm doing. And for me, man, it's always about finding that next person I could bring on the show. Like I'm out there. Like I'm always looking, dude. And so, and I love it. I love this life, bro. I wouldn't want any other life. Like this you know, other than having my kid and my wife, this is the best fucking thing that's ever happened to my life for sure. So, and it's cool. Like I said, like this is refreshing having someone like you on, bro. Like I haven't had a podcast like this where like I'm a one-on-one podcast where we're not like talking ball python projects and like the normal vanilla questioning, you know what I mean? Like it's finally something that feels like more like refreshing. We're kicking it in person and like, you know what I mean? And I try to aim for that for the most part, bro. And I really do, but you get caught into things sometimes. And so I don't know. I had a good time.
I don't know what my life would be like right now if I didn't start this back in May of last year. You know, like it's given, you know, it's given my life more purpose from a professional standpoint. Like it's, you know, because it's given me just like a feeling like, okay, I'm doing something now that I enjoy, you know, something that I'm passionate about. And if I don't ever make a dime from it, and if I can't even break even, I'm going to be totally fine with that.
Yeah.
You know, because it's for me, it's something else, right? Like I have a job and that's cool, you know, and that pays the bills and everything, but it wasn't making me feel like I was doing something that I love on the inside, you know?
Well, let's take it home with this topic real quick. You know, becoming a full-time reptile keeper, like what is that when you hear that, what does that go on in your mind? And what do you feel like being a full-time reptile keeper is like in a 2025 era? Like let's how does that marinate to you?
When did I get the promotion from part-time? I think I was seasonal for a while. I think the ball python, I was seasonal, you know? Yeah, I mean, it's such a cool world right now, right? Because we're all interested in the information and keeping the animals better and their behavior. And so I think in my mind, that's if you have a snake, or any reptile, you can make it a full-time endeavor, you know, by the level of care that you give the animal. And you see this more and more on social media and everything, YouTube videos. People are giving like next level care to these animals and giving them like zoo level enclosures, you know, and just taking it way beyond the ball python in a 10-gallon aquarium, you know, or 20-gallon aquarium. So I don't know. I think that in our age of information, finding what works and hearing the experiences of others and trying to give your animals the best care possible that's what I'm all about personally. That's my thing, right? Like my animals are all pets first. Yeah. And you know, my Argentine, my larger female, I may never breed her, you know, cause she's too special to me, you know, so I just might not breed her.
Dude, you don't understand how what you just said, how that hits me, because like I told you, what I went through with my 2 snakes that came from forest, and I felt like, okay, if I would have never tried breeding them, they would probably still be alive right now, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, like I said, I mean, I don't have no regrets, but like when it comes to like, you love something for what you have, like a living thing, and then just the idea of breeding could change all that, you know? So yeah. It's not, I don't like for you to say like, man, maybe I don't want to breed this snake because I love it so much. That is a real thing right there, bro. Like that right there, whatever you just said, if that's I don't blame you at all. Because it does make you think twice. Like, what are you doing? You know, when your favorite snake is no longer with you and you're pulling babies out of it. Like, it's kind of like, what the fuck? Am I in the right place? Like, you know, but
yeah, I couldn't do that with my dog. You know, if
hell, I could do it with a dog. That's what I'm saying. Like, just dude, oh my, that's why I always think like breeding dogs. Fuck that shit. There's no way in hell. Like I don't even think twice. And
yeah.
Here I am pulling snakes out of a fucking, you know, God.
Yeah, well, I mean that would be something that before I can even do that, like I need to have so many more conversations. I got to get Keith McPeak on to talk to him about breeding Argentines. You know, yeah. Like Bob Geyer and you know, like I need to talk to more people before I would ever feel comfortable doing that. Like, because I do care a lot about my animals, like, you know, so it's like I said, I have a job, you know, so like I'm good with going to work and making my money there. And if I can make money off the animals, you know, and it happens in the safest way possible, cool. You know, I'm all about that. But I don't know. I might never breed her, you know, cause she's a dope snake. You know, she's super cool.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know. If like, I feel like deep down in your heart, if you have the right male and that female's ready, then, you know, and you have Keith McPete and other people, you know, mentoring you and you really want to do it. I mean, you'll do it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, you know, always be prepared for what could come.
Oh, yeah. See that as soon as that question comes up, what could come, then it's like,
but you have like, here's the thing, bro, with Northerners, bro, they're just notorious. Like what happened to me has happened to so many people. Yeah. Ed Marino, Ryan Young has a basin. I don't know if she's still alive. Ryan, you around? Ryan Young has a basin that retained like, I don't know how many babies, just never shit them out. You know what I mean? So you just hear these stories where like, what the fuck? And so I don't know too much about Argentine boas, but definitely, like you said, you know, fucking talk to multiple people, hear the worst stories that they've had, and then, you know, you make a decision from there. So I hopefully Argentines are just like any other BCI or like, you know, any other boa to breed. I would hope so. But at the end of the day, it's cool that you don't care about breeding. Like if it doesn't breed, like if something were to happen to the female and the vet's like, she can never breed, but you could still keep her, you would be fine. Like you'd be
100%.
Yeah, no worries with it. So, and that's the thing, bro. Like before we end tonight, people who are coming into this need to start coming in for the pet side of things. Like just keep it first before even breeding, before even thinking about the male or whatever the fuck sex you have. Just keep it alive and enjoy it, and then like let some time pass and then go from there, you know. Like and like, dude, I can at least happily say I came into this wanting just snakes in a fucking tub or in a tank. All I wanted was just to have snakes. That's all I cared about. The breeding thing was not even like ever a thought in my mind until Brock Barczyk and other ball python people came into my life, and it all changed. But man, like I didn't like, there was a good 2 years of me having reptiles, like over 10 snakes, where I just fucking loved having snakes. I thought it was the coolest thing to have all these snakes, you know?
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, right? I mean, that's, if you're selling snakes, that's who you want your animals to go to, right?
Yeah. Long-term keepers.
Yeah. Somebody that's going to like the animal and appreciate it for what it is. And then take breeding seriously. Yeah.
I mean, I try not to have these chip on my shoulders, but man, there's fucking people coming into the chondro game, paying an X amount of like they'll get a good price on a designer, only because the person selling that designer doesn't think it's going to turn out to be a crazy snake. The snake turns out to be a crazy snake, and then they flip the snake and make money off of it instead of keeping it and breeding it. What the fuck is that, dude?
Yeah.
That is so not the like chondro way right there. You know what I mean? But I gotta tell you, all those people will learn for sure. There's not much room for error in the chondro game without getting kicked in the fucking balls really, really hard.
But if somebody does that, if they're flipping an animal like that, would you want them to try to breed that animal and potentially screw it up? I mean, so maybe they're selling it to somebody who's more capable. So maybe it's the best possible outcome.
Yeah, but then again, like I said, I guess you're right. I don't know. I didn't think of it like that. But for me, like, I don't know. I don't have no breeding loans with nobody. Like this is my shit. You know what I mean? And so I feel capable because how I took my time. And at the end of the day, that animal that's sold is a baby. That animal won't be ready to breed for another 2 to 3 years. So it's like you have time to enjoy it and raise it and learn about it. You know what I'm saying? Versus, let me make my money back and then a couple thousand or something stupid, where it's like, what's the point of getting into the chondro game if you're not going to build a foundation and not enjoy the whole fruits of the labor? You know what I mean? But hey,
you should view that like winning the lottery. You hit the jackpot.
Shit, right? That's what I'm saying. Like when you get gems like that in the chondro game, that's what determines where you're headed. You know, it's just like anything else. Like you would never get rid of your best Timor or your best, like, you know, if you have the most uniquest of something in your collection, you're not letting it go. I think you'd want to hold on to that, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I think I have one of the best jungle carpets out there. and I got her from Nick Mutton, and
Oh, that makes sense.
she's just insane looking. She's so nice. She's just a nice, just, I look at her and it's everything a jungle should be, in my opinion, you know? So that excites me, you know, where it's like that. I do want to breed her just because it's like, man, what kind of offspring is she going to have if I pair her with this male that I have?
And where it came from. I mean, Nick Mutton, let's be real. That's a fucking man right there, bro. Nick
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick is good peeps, but also like fucking one of the goats we have in this game for sure.
And the lineage that I have on that animal, it's insane.
Yeah, definitely insane. This fucking episode was insane, man. I had a really good time tonight, Adam.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me on.
Before I let you go, I got hot seat questions for you. Okay, everybody who comes to the trap first gets hit with the hot seat questions. Right?
Okay.
So hot seat questions, you know how this works. The quicker the better. Just rapid fire. Just boom, 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 boom. Okay. No.
Okay.
And if you have a question that you're like, oh, like maybe, no, there's no maybe. It's either yes or no. Okay. Like, does that make sense? Like, it's answer the question type.
It's
shit.
yes or no.
It's not all yes or no, but there's no like, oh, maybe, or like, I'll do both. Or
did it start yet? Yes.
No. All right. No, here we go. Hot seat questions. Get the likes up. You know how we end this in style. You ready, Adam?
Yep.
Here we go. Frozen thought or live?
Frozen thawed.
A cut or no cut?
No cut.
Red chondro neo or yellow chondro neo?
Yellow.
Wow, dude, relax.
We talked about this.
Favorite boa species?
Favorite boa? Yeah. Argentine.
Yay imports or boo imports?
It's needed.
So yay. Right?
Responsibly. Yeah. Yay responsibly.
Okay. What's one reptile you would import to your collection anywhere around the world? What would it be?
Could it be something that's not legal right now?
Anything. It could be anything you want.
An Argentine, if it could be done legally.
Oh, respect. To spray or mist an Argentine boa, or to never spray and mist an Argentine boa?
Spray or mist. Yeah, for sure.
Yay sports or boo sports?
What?
Yay sports or boo sports?
Yay sports.
You'd be surprised, bro. Some people don't like sports.
I mean, I don't like traditional sports. Like I can't sit still for it.
Okay. What's your favorite sport?
Shit. Fishing, archery.
Fishing? What the fuck?
That's a sport.
It is. Saltwater or freshwater?
Fresh.
All right, cool. Steak or fish?
Steak.
Favorite cut of steak?
Porterhouse.
Nice. Good call. Yay alcohol or boo alcohol?
Boo alcohol.
Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Van Halen.
Respect. East Coast rap or West Coast rap?
East Coast.
Favorite East Coast rapper or rap group?
The Golden Girls.
What? What? Is that for real?
Yeah, that counts, right?
I guess. All right, we'll keep it moving. Fuck.
Jay-Z.
Okay, thank you. All right. a little word association. Say the first thing that comes to mind. Milk.
Snake. That wasn't the first word.
You cheated. Stuck shed.
Water.
Substrate.
COCO.
Mites.
Provent.
FedEx shipping.
Overnight.
Instagram trolls.
Fuck them.
Last but not least, coolest reptile network in the world.
It's gonna have to be Trap Talk.
Yeah, you said it, my guy. Dude, you fucking nailed this shit like a stuffed pig, bro. Awesome podcast. Before we let you go and drop your plugs. Where can people follow you at? Where should people subscribe at? Tell them, Adam.
So the coolest reptile network is whatever I'm on. I just want to say that, you know. I'm at official_snake_boy BOI on Instagram. You can look me up Adam Sehy SEHY on Facebook. I'm on there. The Expert and the Idiot podcast. Yeah. Snake Boy on YouTube.
Awesome.
Look it up.
How many days a week are you releasing episodes? Like, what's your schedule like with that?
Every Sunday at 5 p.m. A new episode comes out, and when I have enough episodes in the bank, I'll put one out on Thursday at 5 p.m. as well.
Fucking A, man. Well, cannot wait. Looking forward to see what you have to bring for the rest of the 2025 season. But guys, do me a favor, go follow him. You're gonna find all the links in the description below. And give it up for my boy Adam. It's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, MJ. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Adam. Had a good time tonight, bro. Enjoy the rest of your night, all right?
All right, you too.
Later, bro. Good episode. I knew that shit was gonna be sick. Had a good time, man. It was really really cool to just kind of go back and forth with a fellow reptile passionate keeper of mine. And so it was great. Really good time. This is your first time hanging out. Make sure you hit that like button before you leave. Let's get the likes up, please. And hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Select all. You'll be reminded of every single podcast. Don't forget, join the Trap Talk Patreon family for all exclusive content. Invites to special events. All right. There's an amazing Discord. Awesome IG group chat. Tap yourself in with some of the sickest longevity keepers we have in the reptile game. That's a fact. Okay. Again, I had a really good time tonight. Shout out to Adam for bringing some awesome heat. But before we let you guys go, you know the deal. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. One of the things I love about being a part of the reptile industry is all the learning, okay? Learning can be fun, and I can prove that to you. Thank you so much to today's sponsor, Gary Scavino over at GS Reptiles. I highly recommend you head over to his YouTube channel, follow all this man's content when it comes to learning about rare species of snakes you could be keeping in the hobby, and also just finding out how easy a lot of these rare species of snakes are to keep in general. So thank you so much, Gary Scavino of GS Reptiles. Again, head over to his YouTube channel. Also head over to his Instagram to be on top of all of his current work and be ready for a big year over at GS Reptiles. Thank you so much, Gary, for your ongoing support. I really appreciate it. Cheers. One of the biggest growths we have in the reptile industry today are the rare species of reptiles that aren't worked with. That's right. That's why I went ahead and partnered up again with Brian Susan over at Sundown Reptiles. Brian works with species such as kahua geckos, gargoyle geckos, all species of tree monitors. He works with Abronia and many other cool species geckos that you can check out all on his website. Head over to sundownreptiles.com, see what he has available. Brian's one of the best doing it in the reptile industry today. He's been on the show multiple times, so make sure you check out all of Brian Susan's episodes on Trap Talk Reptile Network. But more importantly, for the highest quality of captive-bred reptiles, make sure you head over to sundownreptiles.com and make sure you give him a follow on Instagram. Thank you again, Brian Susan over at Sundown Reptile. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Green tree pythons, emerald tree boas, and plenty other arboreal snakes have been quite the popularity here at the Trap Talk Reptile Network, which brings me to today's sponsor, the Reptile Perch. Head over to thereptileperch.com and Reptile Perch on Instagram. See what type of design PVC perch is best for your arboreal reptile. But first and foremost, I would also check out David Brom's Green Tree Python availability on the website. And you can also check out his Instagram just to stay current on any projects or any productions that he posts. Thank you so much, David Brahms, for your ongoing support. Looking forward to seeing what you have to show in the 2025 season. Shout out to today's sponsor, and that is the COCO Dude. #1 chipper substrate in the game. Everything you see behind me, all my emerald tree boas, my green tree pythons are all over that beautiful COCO chip over at cocodude.com. Go to cocodude.com, place your order. I prefer the COCO to go. It's already broken down, less dust, the chunks are perfect. But yes, I like the COCO to go. No matter what your total is in your cart, if you put in TRAPFAM25 in the promo code, you are now going to get 25% off your entire order. Thank you so much, the COCO Dude, for doing that for all my trappers. Again, #1 substrate in the game. Less duck sheds, less dust. It's the best place to be, and that's the COCO Dude. Again, cocodude.com, put in promo code TRAPFAM25 and get yourself 25% off the entire order. Thank you so much, COCO Dude. Cheers!